DC K.O. was the last big event at DC Comics. Heroes and villains competing to turn the universe into their dream universe and stop Darkseid. Today's video is the full story Supercut, with the core story, Knightfight, and essentially all the DC K.O. videos we made have been put into this full story Supercut. So enjoy this 3-hour epic. Game night. Clark rolls the dice and gets a 2. Diana moves his piece 2 spaces forward and smiles. Womp womp. Go back a row, Clark. Green is kryptonite, she says with joy. Clark rubs his head and frowns. Seriously? He groans as Diana gets a Batmobile boost and is able to move ahead 3 spaces. Why are all the power-ups Bat-themed? Who made this thing? Clark asks as he reaches for the box. He reads the game company, M. Malone Entertainment. Bruce, Clark says. But Bruce just shrugs and leans back in his chair. Never heard of it. Just play the game, he says softly with a smile. Lois enters the room with drinks and snacks. I warned you, Clark doesn't like a game unless no one has to lose, she points out to the group. Diana reaches for some chips, thanking Lois for organizing a game night. Game night continues on. But suddenly, something becomes strange. The sky outside becomes a deep red. Clark stands to look out the window, and his eyes widen in horror. Darkseid has returned, but he is something more than he was before. The ancient god stands taller than the city. Omega beams reach out from his eyes, destroying everything they touch. And everywhere he steps, people become Darkseid, mindless followers of the ruler of Apocalypse. The 3 heroes waste no time, leaping into action to try and protect their world. But they don't realize what Darkseid has become. He is everywhere, all at once. Gotham, Themyscira, the Rock of Eternity, Oa. Darkseid is. Batman is the first to fall. An Omega beam rips through the Batwing, breaking it down to its atoms and ripping through Batman's flesh. Diana is next. A blow from Darkseid shatters every bone in her body, and she collapses to the earth. Anger overwhelms Superman, and he launches himself forward, preparing to hit Darkseid harder than anything he's hit before. But he hears something that he's never heard before. The sound stuns him just long enough for Darkseid to hit him with the most powerful Omega beam ever. This is the blast that ends him. When does this happen? Superman asks. The Justice League stands in the Watchtower, gathered around the Quantum Quorum, a group of time travelers that have appeared before them without a warning. The World Forger, Time Trapper, aka Doomsday, Grodd, and Booster Gold. It already did, Kal-El, Time Trapper tells them softly. Batman nods as he steps to his friend's side. Superman, look, Batman says softly, holding up his phone with a reminder text from Lois about game night in 1 week. Time Trapper nods, explaining that the Quantum Quorum have combined their powers to rewind time by 7 days. Darkseid has already conquered the future, and now he is making his way back through time to this moment, he explains. And? Go on, how do we stop him this time? Someone asks. But the Time Trapper shakes his head. This time, you don't, he says simply. The World Forger raises his hammer, creating an image of their world's timeline. A timeline that ends in fire. It all ends here, at this moment, Time Trapper tells them. Hal looks at Booster, who stands with the Quorum. Booster, come on, Hal starts to say. But Booster Gold shakes his head. Hal, we've watched you try 1,000 things 1,000 times. You always lose. From what we've seen, There's only one thing you can do, Booster says. Time Trapper nods. Give up and start over, he tells them. He suggests that the Quorum will use all of their energy to create a new timeline, restart their world, and hide it from Darkseid. All would be new, the World Forger tells them. Aquaman looks at the group. This reality is our history, our story. Without it, what would we be? He questions. Alive, Time Trapper tells them all. The World Forger cracks his hammer again, and more images play before the group, showing them glimpses of this universe. The Quorum explains that the universe is made up of opposing energies, Alpha and Omega. Alpha is the energy of creation, of life, but Omega is the energy of death, of control and conquest. Apocalypse's core is an infernal machine that runs off Omega energy, and Darkseid is its champion. From that moment on, he has sought control of the Earth, reality's greatest source of Alpha energy, to transform it into a new apocalypse. When he formed his new universe, he placed a heart of Apocalypse at Earth's center. All the Omega energy that it generated flowed into him, making him absolute. Thus, he has become that universe's King Omega, the personification of its Omega energy, Time Trapper tells them. He looks to the gathering of heroes and explains that they act now and create a new timeline. The Earth is already transforming upon his approach. Many of you have likely sensed the heart of Apocalypse growing at its center. But Batman shakes his head. Hold on. If there's a heart of Apocalypse forming at the center of our Earth right now, could we use it to transform one of us into something like him? A King Omega? The Dark Knight asks. Huh, that's an idea, Wonder Woman starts to say. A terrible idea, Gorilla Grodd says. But Time Trapper points out that for the heart to be disconnected from Darkseid, they would have to restart it with a blast of Omega energy that they don't possess. No, but Booster does. Watchtower readings show him brimming with it from being trapped with Darkseid for years. He could use that power to blast the heart, cosmically defibrillate it. Batman continues. The Quorum look to each other and back to the group, explaining that if the heart was restarted, it would seek out a new champion, but it would alter reality to test them, create a tournament to choose the most powerful champion, to find someone worthy. And this person, if they do defeat Darkseid, they could bring it all back on the other side? Everyone and everything lost? Batman questions. Booster shrugs. In theory, whoever wins should be able to reshape the universe however they want, Booster says with a nod. The Time Trapper looks at the gathering of heroes, questioning whether any of them have what it truly takes to win such a tournament. To match Darkseid's power, you must compete only to win. No mercy, no compassion. Can you truly do that? Time Trapper asks. Everyone looks at each other, but Superman shakes his head and turns away. Forget it. We're not doing this, he says. Shortly, Batman and Wonder Woman find him staring down at the Earth. They try to explain to him that this is the only way to defeat Darkseid and save the world. We do this, really do it. What's to stop the villains from following us down there? Imagine the Joker in this tournament. Imagine Lex, Cheetah, Superman points out. But Diana suggests that they hide the villains away in the Phantom Zone until this is done. Keep them out. This could work, Clark. Think about it, Batman says. But what Superman thinks about is the moment he charged Darkseid and the terrible sound that stopped him in his tracks. It was the sound of every heart on Earth, not stopping or dying, but falling into unison. Every heart. The people fish, birds, bugs, all of it, aligning to a single rhythm. Dark sides. It's a game, Clark, Batman says. One we play to the death, against each other, Superman says with disgust. But Diana puts a hand on her friend's shoulder. No, against him. Remember that. It becomes your favorite kind, like Lois said. The kind where no one really loses. The kind we all win together, she tells him. And finally, Superman nods. Time moves quickly. The heroes have 7 days. The first day sees them move to secure the villains of their world. Mr. Terrific hates what they are about to do, but they have no choice. His T-Spheres head out into the world, using their technology to capture the worst villains and transport them to the Phantom Zone. The second day sees the heroes stand before the world and explain their plan. The third day sees them work alongside the greatest organizations of the world to create mega arcs that contain everyone and preserve everything. The fourth day, the heroes spend time with their loved ones. They look at the world and remember what they are fighting to save. The fifth day, they prepare themselves for the tournament, choose their weapons. Batman opens his vault and smiles. Justice Buster 2, power up, he growls. Diana looks at her armory. God Killer armor, awaken, she orders. Cyborg chooses defensive measures. Father Box upgrade, go, he whispers. And Superman travels to the Fortress of Solitude. He chooses the Knuckles, forged years ago after returning from the dead. They are powered by raging miniature suns taken from empty universes. He once thought of calling them Dawn's Day Knuckles, but Lois vetoed that fast. On the sixth day, it is time. They have done everything they can. They travel to the Skartaris Nexus, a passage to the center of the Earth. There, Booster Gold readies himself, strapped to the bottom of the Batwing and wearing a harness to amplify and aim his Omega energy. He prepares himself. Okay, folks, let's cause a cosmic heart attack, Booster shouts as he opens fire into the passage. The blast rips downward, and suddenly, reality is changed. Clark stands in his chambers, preparing for the fight. He steps outside and is shocked to find himself in an arena. Before him, 3 giants stand blocking his way. Behind him, gates open to reveal the other combatants. Finally, they have gathered. Those of you who cross the gauntlet early shall move on. The rest perish. One wrong step, and you may find yourself out. The contest begins at the drop of the Hell Mace, the 3 giants command. Superman readies himself, but glances over to see Billy Batson smiling at him. Well, well, looks like we're finally gonna get to see who'd win, Superman or the Captain. You're so going down, Big Blue. Shazam! Billy starts to say, but the Hell Mace falls and crushes him. Superman stares in shock for a moment. You may begin, the giant commands. Superman launches himself into the air, slamming into the giant and punching it hard in the face, knocking out a tooth. But a rocket from below slams into his back. Clark, head in the game, Batman shouts. The heroes all begin to launch forward through the gauntlet. Some stumble and fall into traps. Others step on the wrong tile and disintegrate. Someone unleashes a horde of Omega demons from the far future, forcing the heroes to fight their way through the gauntlet. Superman moves across the field, watching as some heroes cross the finish line, but he's holding back. He could be the first of them through the portal, but he is aiding the others. He counts as more and more pass through, unsure of how many will be allowed. But Batman knows what he's doing. He charges to the Man of Steel with his Justice Buster armor. "Superman, focus! You need to stay!" Batman begins to shout, but his words cut off as something pierces his chest. "Sharp," he groans. Superman stares at the shard of metal in shock as the flag suddenly drops from it. Bang, it reads. Batman falls to the ground, revealing a crowd of villains behind him. "I guess Batman doesn't always win." Joker giggles as he reloads his massive spear launcher. Superman watches in shock as the villains charge forward, cutting their way through the remaining heroes. Joker steps into the portal, followed by Lex Luthor and Giganta. Now, Superman has no choice. He has to play the game, and he launches himself through the portal and disappears, taking the last spot. The 32 champions have been decided. Who will win and be crowned the King Omega? All of this is watched from the center of the earth, as the Heart of Apocalypse observes all. It already knows the outcome, knows who will be the champion, but it watches anyway. The combatants don't know all of the twists, all of the secrets. They don't know that there are 3 destroyers waiting for them. Horsemen of the Apocalypse, from a universe where Darkseid's rule is absolute. The Quorum watches all with their powers, unaware that Darkseid has taken the form of one of their own. And Darkseid watches through the eyes of Booster Gold as the tournament begins. Gotham City, another night. The bat signal shines bright over shadowy rooftops. Batman moves quickly, leaping roof to roof. He's getting old. His bones crack, but are drowned out by the sirens. He can't stop. Professor Pig is loose once more and has kidnapped a bus full of kids. Batman moves as fast as he can to get there and save the hostages, but he's too late. He glides through the air, the streets lit by the burning big top of Pig's Psycho Circus. The police have already arrived on the scene, and Batman watches as his Robins, his sons, lead the kidnapped kids to safety. There was a time when Batman fought his war alone, but now his family patrols the streets of Gotham alongside him. Nightwing is their leader. Bruce once thought that Dick would replace him as Batman, but he now sees that Dick has become his own man, his own hero. "Sorry we beat you here. You trained us too well," Nightwing says with a smile as Batman joins them. Red Hood is the rebel, the survivor. Batman worries about his penchant for violence, but also envies him for embracing his anger in a way that he never could. "When are you going to learn, Pig? You're lucky we don't throw you in a pit and leave you for dead," Jason growls as he shoves Pig into the back of a GCPD wagon. Robin is the brains, the detective. Tim is always thinking, always planning, and often notices things that even Batman misses. "We need to investigate Pig's plan to make sure there are no surprises," Tim tells the others. And Damian is the heart of the group. He started as a killer, but has grown to be a healer. "You're safe now," Damian tells one of the kids. Suddenly, an alert goes over the Bat family comms. "Mr. Freeze just attacked Gotham Zoo," Nightwing tells his brothers. "Might as well keep this party going," Red Hood notes as they all grapple into the air. Damian looks back. "Are you coming, father?" he calls. But Bruce just smiles as he watches. Some nights, he watches them and wonders, does Gotham still need me? Now, inside the first round of the tournament, Joker cackles as his harpoon pierces Batman's chest, blood splashing over the arena floor. Gotcha! Joker giggles as he rushes past Batman and heads for the portal to the next phase. Superman is there, catching Batman's falling body and cradling him. Clark, remember what I said. Batman gasps before dying and disappearing to join the other statues of those eliminated from the tournament. But Batman does not die. Somewhere within the heart of the planet, his statue begins to ping. Cracks begin to form as the pinging grows louder and louder. And finally, the stone shatters. Bruce opens his eyes and finds himself on a Gotham rooftop, a boom tube closing behind him. He was allowed to bring any tools to the tournament and brought apocalyptian armor that would boom tube him back to Gotham if he became inactive for too long. He stares out at the city, but something is wrong. This isn't the Gotham he left behind. How long was he trapped? Did they win and turn Gotham into this? He taps the comms on his strange bat armor. Watchtower, this is Batman. I'm in Gotham. Report. He growls. Nothing but static answers him. But suddenly, a Robin throwing star slams into his communicator. He turns and his eyes widen in surprise as a group of Robins, none of which he recognizes, rush at him. It's the Bat who fell! One of them shouts. Another of the Robins raises a pistol and fires R throwing stars at him. Batman recovers fast, swooping and ducking under the attacks. The others move in fast, lashing out at Batman with kicks and punches that he easily dodges and blocks. He admits that they are well trained, but not by him. Their style reminds him of Nightwing. Batman turns and runs, dashing across the rooftops. He knows the Robins are trying to lead him somewhere, so he lets them. He leaps to another nearby rooftop, and the Robins give up their pursuit. But Batman is not alone. He turns as a shadow falls over him. Another Batman leaps out of the shadows, and Batman's suspicions are confirmed. I warned you, Bruce. If you returned, it would be war. Dick snaps as he leaps down and kicks at Bruce. Bruce blocks the attack and takes a step back, still trying to figure out what is going on. Dick, how long ago did we defeat Darkseid? Who won the tournament? Bruce demands. But Dick is still moving, twirling and kicking before snapping out with a quick jab. Darkseid? Tournament? What are you talking about? You know what you did! Dick snaps at him. The two trade blows while Dick accuses Bruce of using a Lazarus pit. You had your own special midlife crisis. Your body was giving up on you, but you refused to give up being Batman. I tried to help you, but you rejected me. You rejected all of us, Dick shouts. Bruce knocks another blow away, trying not to hurt Dick. No! I was in a tournament to end Darkseid, to gain the power to defeat him and save us all! He snaps as he fights back. Dick blocks the attack. Do you hear yourself right now? The pit drove you crazy, just like it did Roz, Talia, Jason, and Selina, he shouts. Bruce hesitates for a moment at Selina's name as Dick whirls away and fires a grappling line that wraps around Bruce, holding him steady. Whatever Darkseid tournament you're talking about is all in your head. Let me show you what is real. What I made while you were gone, Dick says. He drags Bruce to the edge of the building and motions out to Gotham. The city shines brightly, and Dick points to a building in the distance. The Bat Tower. You and I have overcome so much trauma. I realized, why not help others in the same way? Let anyone who wants to be a Robin be one. I built a team with the Titans. So I took that idea and leveled it up. We take people in from all over. We created a support system that grew outside of Gotham in a way you never could, Dick tells him. Now, Robin Inc. has Robins in every major city in the world, run by Babs, Cass, Duke, Steph. Our numbers grow every day. The world is far from safe, but your mission continues, he says as he turns back to Bruce and removes his cowl. revealing an aging man with graying hair. I did what you couldn't. I trusted others so that you could stop. You could retire and let your legacy continue with me, Dick says softly. Bruce stares out at his city, taking in everything, but finally he shakes his head. This is not what I wanted for you. I didn't want you to continue the burden. I wanted you to have your own life. You created your own identity, and I wanted you to keep that, Bruce tells him. But Dick just glares at him. That's a lie. You didn't want us to take the burden from you because you refused to give up being Batman. Because you know that without it, you're nothing, Dick snaps. Bruce glances at him. Maybe that's true, but you still have Robins. Would you let any of them become Batman? Bruce asks him. Dick hesitates for a moment, but Bruce looks back at the city. This isn't right, and I need to find out why, Bruce says. Dick pulls back on his cowl and draws his Eskrima sticks. You're not going to escape again, Bruce. I'm giving you one chance. Stand down, Dick orders. Bruce readies himself. Did you forget who trained you? He growls. Dick shakes his head. I've beaten you before, old man. I'll do it again! He roars as he charges at Batman and swings his Eskrima sticks. Bruce blocks the attack and steps back to throw batarangs, but these are easily blocked by Dick with his weapons as he steps in for a kick. He slams into Batman and pushes him through a nearby window. Batman fires a grapple line, but Dick is right behind him and kicks him in the face. The two land hard onto the rooftop. Are you out of breath yet, old man? Dick growls, but Bruce has had enough. He charges forward, hitting Dick again and again with a brutal combination. Dick spins and falls to the ground. Bruce grabs his cape, but the garment comes free, and Dick swirls and hits him across the jaw with his Eskrima sticks. Nice try, Bruce. I only wear the cape out of tradition. I learned to fight without it. Can you just admit it, Bruce? I'm a better Batman than you! Dick shouts. Bruce stumbles and falls. Rain begins to pour down on them. Listen to me, Bruce. Really listen, or I'll throw you in Arkham and lose the key. You're not Batman anymore, Dick says. But he stops and offers his hand. You did it. Gotham doesn't need you. You can stop obsessing now, Dick says. But Bruce isn't listening. He can hear his armor, pinging faintly with the sound of the mother box. It's still receiving a signal from the heart of Apocalypse. Bruce staggers to his feet. I think I know what's happening here, Dick. What happened with the tournament? What I have to do, Bruce says as he readies himself to continue the fight. But Dick shakes his head. Please, for you, for me, don't do this. Just stop, Dick says softly. But Bruce shakes his head. He charges forward again, throwing a powerful punch. If you're Batman, where's Jason, Tim, and Damian? Where are your brothers? Bruce demands. Dick easily blocks the blow and pulls Bruce around into a headlock. Don't you remember? You let your fear of us replacing you drive you insane long before you went into the Lazarus pit. You said there can only be one Batman. Only you. They're not here. Because you killed them! Dick bellows as lightning strikes, illuminating the statues of Bruce's fallen sons behind them. The first round of the tournament has ended, and the final 32 combatants have been brought to the second arena. It is a barren wasteland, populated by the decaying skeletons of the Elder Gods that Darkseid murdered to gain his power. It took 11 billion years to construct, but for the champions, the time passes in the blink of an eye. The voice of the Heart of Apocalypse echoes above them. Welcome, champions, to the second challenge.
To become the King Omega in this new universe, Darkseid had to take. To collect power from his kind, primordial beings, gods. Here, each of you must do the same, but from your own kind. Your fellow champions. Hidden through this realm are some of the most powerful items in your universe. This arena is a graveyard of elder gods slain by Darkseid. The items lie in their ruins. When all items are found, the challenge is over. Whoever is holding an item at that time moves on. Whoever is not, dies.
The heart bellows. The weapons include the Blue Beetle Scarab, the God Killer's Sword, Warlagog, Adam's Belt, Mother Box, Psycho Pirate's Medusa Mask, Thor's Hammer, Bane's Venom, Speed Force Ring, the Power Rings, Genie Pen, Claws of Horus, Soul Taker's Sword, Lasso of Truth, Cosmic Rod, and one mystery item. The heroes look around, glaring at the villains that have come through the portal.
There are only 16 items hidden here, and 32 of you. There are no rules of conduct. Nothing matters but winning. And remember this rule above them all. Here in this arena, if you follow the example of Darkseid, you shall be rewarded.
The heart calls. The call to begin rings out and the champions scatter. But Superman has his eyes set on one man, Lex Luthor. He refuses to let Lex win, and so he races after him, doing what he can to slow the other villains in the process. As powerful as Lex's armor is, Superman quickly catches up to him, grabbing the villain by the leg and spinning him around, tossing him through a nearby god's skull. Nearby, Etrigan and Wonder Woman fight over Adam's belt. The demon lets out a roar of hellfire and pushes Diana back. To you that belt shall not pass. This demon spawn will kick your ass. I admit, princess, you fight well, but you are no match for Etrigan taunts. But Diana pushes through the kicks and hits him hard in the throat. Go to hell, she bellows. Etrigan falls and Diana glares down at him. Hera, I hate rhymes. Diana hisses as she starts to search for the belt. But a shadow falls over her, and Diana looks up to see Giganta standing overhead. Wonder Woman. There's only room for one big girl in this challenge, Giganta tells her. But a shadow suddenly falls over Giganta, and both women look up to see a massive Joker smiling down at them. You call that big? He asks as a lightning flashes overhead. Joker? What are you doing? We're on the same side, Giganta shouts. He giggles as he stomps down, squashing her to death. He turns and scoops up another group of champions and tosses them into his mouth. Meanwhile, at the site of the God Killer's sword, Plastic Man and Metamorpho are fighting over the powerful weapon, but Jay Garrick suddenly blazes past them and grabs hold of the sword, dashing away in a burst of Speed Force lightning. Nearby, Guy Gardner has found the Flash's ring. He reaches out for it, but is knocked flat by a comically large hammer. Harley Quinn smiles as she reaches out for the ring. Ivy'll love this. Now, what the heck do you do? She whispers as she slips it on, and Speed Force lightning begins to pulse around her. Meanwhile, Superman is still fighting Luthor, his fist slamming into the villain's armor and knocking him away. But Lex only smiles as he staggers to his feet. I'm glad we had this moment, Superman. Because I wanted to thank you. He coughs, explaining that when Superman put the villains into the Phantom Zone, it gave them all the time in the world to sit down and talk out their differences. And when I had a moment to myself, I had an epiphany, Lex admits. Superman reaches down and picks him up, prepared to hit him again. Not interested, Superman growls. But Lex's chest armor opens up to reveal a collection of kryptonites. You know, it's a good time to be a kryptonite enthusiast, Lex says with a smile as Superman staggers back. I've expanded my collection, and what I'm going to use for today is to get you to listen for once, Lex says as he hits Superman hard, knocking the Man of Steel through some nearby mountains. Lex flies after him and slams into his chest, cracking the ground beneath them. So here's my epiphany, Superman. I always thought I hated you because you did too much. You stopped humanity from realizing our potential. But what I really hate you for is doing too little, Lex growls. Superman pushes him off and tries to stand, but Lex just reaches down and pulls out a new weapon he's created. A blade made from the energy of the Phantom Zone. He lashes out with it and slashes off Superman's hand, bringing a scream of pain from the Man of Steel. Lex stands over him, triumphant. When I arrived here in the heart of Apocalypse, it gave me a vision of what the universe could be like if I won, of everything remade in my image. I assume it did this for everyone. So, what was yours, Superman? Lex asks. He leans down and stares at the Kryptonian. A better reality? Diseases cured, corrupt governments eradicated, a cultural paradise. Am I right? Let me guess. Your response to the vision was to reject it. Your goal, even now, is to just put everything back the way it was at the end of this. Lex snarls. He stands back and lifts his arm, firing a shard of green kryptonite into him. People are begging for a hero who will fix the problems, the wars, the death, the misery, the terror of it all. They want you to save them, but you never will. Because deep down, you're a coward, Superman, Lex snaps. He watches as Superman falls to the ground and finally turns away. Now, excuse me while I do what you won't and save the world, he says before rocketing away. Close by, Guy Gardner charges forward, reaching out for the claw of Horus. Look alive, dorks! Guy Gardner for the win, he says as he flies close, but Hawkman swoops in and grabs them just in time. Ah, not again! Guy screams in frustration. Below in the shadows, Cyborg reaches out and connects to the mother box, while Lobo stomps over a hill and finds Bane's Venom rig. He grabs it and pulls it on, immediately pumping himself full of the drug. But Starro suddenly launches from the shadows and grabs hold of him. Damn, freak! Sneak attack! Hand it over! Starro shouts as he latches himself around Lobo. Get your foul, slimy, but weirdly soft feelers off the main man! Lobo snaps as he rips Starro apart, tossing the chunks aside with a growl. Sorry, brother. Some gotta win. Some gotta be you, Lobo says with a smile as he flexes. Fun fact about starfish, we regenerate, bastitch! Starro shouts as he suddenly jumps back up, each chunk rapidly healing and becoming a separate starfish. The smaller Starros leap out, grabbing hold of several heroes. Now, Starro League, attack! The Starros shout, All the heroes begin to fight against each other. Diana rushes across the battlefield and charges at Zatanna. The magician lashes out with magical lightning to keep Wonder Woman at bay, shouting a spell to try and free her mind.
Cosmic starfish are immune to magic, abracadumbass!
Starro shouts from Diana's face, but Zatanna is trying to reach Diana's mind behind the starfish. Diana, right by your side! Reach down, now! Zatanna yells. Somewhere in her mind, Diana is listening. Her hand reaches out and grasps the handle of Thor's hammer at her right side. Magical lightning zaps around the arena, hitting the Starros and knocking them free of the heroes they control. Nearby, Guy Gardner is running for the blue scarab, but Red Hood is there first. Not so fast, Ginger, Jason shouts as he keeps running, grabbing the blue scarab as it attaches to his body, creating Red Beetle Armory. The scarab announces. Red Hood's eyes focus on the giant Joker stomping around the arena. Hey Joker, how's this for a punchline? Jason shouts as he creates 2 energy cannons, but Harley zips past him. No way! I call dibs! She shouts. Joker smiles at them both. Man, I love when they fight over me, he giggles. Suddenly, the Joker is gone. Damn it! Jason growls. Where the hell did he go? Harley questions as she doesn't stop running. Nearby, Big Barda begins to scream as the Joker, now tiny, begins to crawl inside her head. The battle continues, but nearby, Lex is charging for the power rings. But he gets there too late, as Star Sapphire hits him with a construct of the entire Fortress of Solitude, before picking up and putting on all the rings. Score 1 for love, she whispers with a smile. She quickly moves her hands just in time to avoid Lex's hydraulic claw cable. But Lex doesn't mind. He managed to get the one ring he wanted. He raises up from the ground, black energy pulsing around him. What good is the black power ring when there's no dead to control? Star Sapphire asks. But Lex just smiles at her. Are you sure about that? He asks with a smile. Around them, the ground begins to shake as the decaying skeletons of the ancient gods begin to rise up. Superman staggers back towards the battlefield, watching in horror as the massive elder gods begin to wipe out the remaining heroes. But the whole time, Lex never takes his eyes off Superman, staring at him in victory. It's over, Superman! Lex bellows. But Superman shakes his head. He tries to think of another way to win the game, to defeat Lex. Then, he remembers what the heart said.
If you follow the example of Darkseid, you shall be rewarded.
And so, Superman reaches for the kryptonite shard stuck in his shoulder. He grabs hold of it and pulls it out with a bellow of anger and pain before plunging it into his heart. And just before the Elder God's foot crushes his body, Clark ends Superman. Who's the real Superman now, my friend? Lex sneers. But his eyes widen in shock as Superman begins to rise, his eyes glowing red. I am Luthor. I'm Superman. And Superman is. Superman rumbles, his voice transformed. His eyes glowing with the power of the mystery item, the Omega Sanction, the power of Darkseid himself. Omega beams snap out, racing across the battlefield and wiping out the Elder Gods. No! I had you beat! Lex screams. Superman prepares to strike him down, but Guy has finally found a weapon. The Warlagog from the Fourth World. The Heart's voice suddenly echoes through the sky.
Champions! All items have been claimed. The challenge is now over.
The Heart calls, and all champions with a weapon suddenly disappear, while those remaining are turned to ash. Ha! Saved by the bell. See you next round, Superman, Lex says just before they both disappear. The surviving 16 champions of the next round have been chosen. Meanwhile, in the Watchtower, the Quantum Quorum continue to watch the battle unfold. Soon we may have a new King Omega. There is hope. We just have to continue to hold the barrier against Darkseid. Time Trapper rumbles, but Booster Gold shakes his head. Yes, unless we don't, he suggests. Time Trapper looks at him in surprise. What do you mean, Booster? He asks. Oh, Time Trapper, you've spent too much time with the Kryptonian. You've become soft in your old age. There's no need for a new King Omega. We already have me. Darkseid, Booster says, his voice changing as he reaches out and grabs Time Trapper by the throat. And it's time I enter the arena. Rain pours down over Gotham. Batman ceases his struggle as Dick tightens his grip around Batman's neck. Stay down, old man. You've lost your mind, Dick growls as Batman looks up at the statues of his lost Robins. The Mother Box armor begins to ping, trying to speak to Bruce, trying to tell him something about this world. But he doesn't listen. Instead, he listens to Dick's heartbeat. Batman has had enough. He arches back and headbutts Dick's nose, knocking his former sidekick back. Batman whirls and activates his armor's defenses, forming a Batleth out of thin air. Your heart gave you away, Dick. It doesn't match your age. I know what being Batman does to our bodies. The heartbeat I just heard wasn't yours. This world is a lie. I died in the tournament, but I tried to escape, and the heart didn't like it. Batman growls as he drops into a combat stance. Dick shakes his head, the rain still pouring down on them. You have to trust me, Bruce, Dick shouts. He motions for his Robins to move forward. The small army of masked vigilantes close in on Bruce. My Robins are everywhere. You can never escape them, Dick shouts to him. But Bruce just smiles through the rain. That was the other tell. You let your Robins fight for you. Dick would never do that. He knows I always fought alongside my Robins. I trained you and your brothers and sisters. And I bet my Robins can kick your Robins' asses, Batman growls. The Robins rush him, but now Batman is no longer holding back. He whirls amongst them, blocking blows and lashing out. He grabs one in a headlock and twirls, kicking another in the stomach before tossing the captured Robin into a full group. The fight is over in a matter of seconds, and the Robins are all down. Are you sure you actually trained them, Dick? They're soft, Bruce says with a smile. Dick lets out a roar of anger and rushes forward, leaping into the air and lashing out with a powerful kick. Bruce blocks it, but takes an Eskrima stick to the head. He ducks under another blow and elbows Dick in the gut. Eskrima meets Batleth. They trade blows back and forth, and Bruce admits that Dick is strong, well trained. The heart has created a good copy. Finally, Dick whirls through the air and kicks Bruce hard enough to bring him down. He rushes forward with his Eskrima sticks, preparing to continue the fight. But Bruce holds up a hand for him to stop. Stop! I see it now. You're right, Bruce gasps. Dick pauses at these words. His eyes widened. I was wrong. I did it. I killed them. I can never handle it or deal with it. Just like my parents, Bruce says softly. Dick smiles as the fight went out of him. It's okay, Bruce. I can help you. Once the Lazarus venom wears off, you'll see what this world is really like. You'll learn to love it, Dick tells him. He holds out a hand for his old mentor. Bruce smiles at him and reaches for it. Thank you, Dick. I mean, Batman, for being something I could never be. Too trusting, Batman says as he pulls Dick down and meets his face with a powerful uppercut. Dick takes the blow to his jaw and falls away, slamming hard into the ground. Batman stands and lifts his batleth, towering over his former sidekick. You still want to see the best in people. It's why you always got along with Clark. But you're not the real Dick. You never could be. Dick actually trusts people. He doesn't try to control them. Bruce snarls. He raises the bladed weapon in his hand. I see now what the Heart of Apocalypse wants me to do. The same thing I told Clark. Don't hold back, Batman growls. He brings the batleth down, preparing to drive the point through Dick's chest. But suddenly, pain rips through his body. Bruce lets out a cry of anguish and falls to his knees, the batleth clattering to the concrete of the rooftop. Smoke drifts off Bruce's body as the rain drives against him. Bruce tries to catch his breath, but the pain rips through him again. He lets out another scream and rears up, and suddenly, it is gone. He opens his eyes to find himself in a gray world. He is kneeling in a cell, drool dripping from his open mouth, his body constricted. What is happening? He gasps. He looks up to find another Batman standing over him. This one cloaked in red, a solid red helmet over his face. You tried to escape again. It's time for your treatment, the new Batman growls. Bruce stares at him in shock. Jason? He whispers, but Batman shakes his head. Jason is dead! Call me Batman! Bruce lowers his head, shaking it defiantly. This isn't real, he says through gritted teeth. The Red Hood Batman sighs and squats down before him. Which is the lie this time? What reality are you saying you're from, he asks. You were trapped in the dark multiverse? You had the powers of Superman. You were buff and carried a big axe. You held a Green Lantern ring? Red Hood asks. Bruce shakes his head, refusing to listen, refusing to believe anything he sees. The heart played its hand, and I'm not falling for it again, he growls. Red Hood nods and stands back up. Oh, so it's the Apocalypse Tournament one, that old nugget, where reality was changing so you could fight your friends to the death, he notes. He reaches up for his helmet and slides it off. I thought you were dead, you know. And then one day, you're just here, talking about alternate realities, where my brothers are still alive. Jason sighs as he reveals his face. Older, tired, scarred. Not a day goes by that I don't think about our family, he says softly. Bruce stands, working at the straitjacket that binds him. Jason, you need to listen to me, he gasps as he tries to work his hands free. But Jason shakes his head. He leans in close. But here's the thing, Bruce. You and I both know you're not really Batman. Isn't that right, Clayface? Jason snaps. Bruce pulls back and the straitjacket loosens, his arms coming free. No! I'm real, Jason! I don't care if you believe me or not, but you have to let me go, he growls. Jason shakes his head and draws a crossbow, his eyes flashing in anger as he takes aim.
This charade is really getting under my skin. Especially after I found you on the streets, Basil. Took you in. Do you have any idea how screwed up it is posing as him? He snarls. Batman shakes his head and readies himself for another fight. I'm not wasting time on this mind game. Fight me! He roars as he charges forward. Crossbow bolts launch through the air, but he keeps moving, slamming into Jason and knocking the crossbow out of the way. Batman drives his elbow into Jason's gut and meets his face with a hard right hook. He twists and uppercuts his former sidekick. Batman moves fast. He was always more skilled than Jason. He pours on the assault, hitting Jason again and again. But Jason can take a beating. Always has. He finally twists away from the attack, punching Batman again and again. But Batman gets the better of him, blocking a powerful blow and kicking out, knocking Jason back into the cell so that he can slam the door shut. I'm sorry, Jason! Bruce shouts as he turns and runs away, dashing through the silent halls of Arkham Asylum. He heads upwards, knowing there must be an exit somewhere. You can't run! There's no escape! Jason bellows into the darkness of the building. Bruce finally bursts through a door onto the roof, but he stops short, his heels sliding along the gravel. He has been Batman for decades. He knows the sound of his city, a cacophony of people, lives good and bad, joy and fear in a massive orchestra. But now, silence. There's nothing here, he whispers as he quietly walks to the edge of the building. He looks up to see a blood-red sky. He hears footsteps behind him, but Bruce doesn't try to run. Jason quietly walks up. Now you're getting it, Basil. You're remembering the truth. You thought you were escaping Arkham, but Gotham is Arkham now, Jason says. Batman looks down at the city, at the strange green gas that floats through the streets. Batman always thought I leaned into the violence or killing. That was his nightmare for me, but I gave that up. What I learned from watching Bruce was that it was my destiny to save Gotham alone, Jason says as he puts his mask back on. What happened? Batman asks. Jason shrugs. Joker. He launched his biggest joke of all. We managed to evacuate the city, he says before motioning to the red sky above them. The dome keeps the Joker's irradiated gas trapped. I had to stay behind, keep it safe, isolated. The plus side is that not a single crime has happened in 20 years. Then you came along, claiming to be Batman. Bruce is long buried. Same with the Joker. They both died in the streets because of the gas, Jason says. He reaches down and draws an electric prod. You need to accept it, Basil. You're not Batman. I am, Jason growls. Bruce shakes his head. No, this is all wrong. It's a game, he whispers. Finally, he turns and glares at Jason. Fine. If the heart wants me to believe I'm Clayface, I'll play! He hisses. His voice shifts as his body morphs. It twists and becomes mud-like. One hand hardens into a mace as Claybat lashes out with the other as it becomes whip-like. Jason's eyes widen as he steps back. He draws his pistols and fires into Claybat's body. Now it's time for Batman versus Clayface. He was born Nathaniel Christopher Adam in small-town America. He grew up with loving parents, and when he was old enough, he joined the Air Force to serve his country. Later, he volunteered again and became something more. He was reborn with powers beyond anything you could imagine. He became an agent of good, a superhero.
He became Captain Atom. Now, he stands on a strange battlefield that was created by a dark alien heart and is being yelled at by the Man of Steel. Captain Atom did what he had to do in the last round and hit Supergirl when he was trying to get one of the weapons, trying to win. Superman takes a breath. "Are you done? Can I speak now?" Atom asks. Superman stares at him in shock. Captain Atom crosses his arms over his chest. "Here's what I saw. You were down for the count, big guy, and Lex and Joker and their buddies were winning. You were too worried about everyone else to do what was needed. What did Batman tell you? Get your head in the game. You could be mad at me all you want, but my guess is things are only gonna get harder from here," Captain Atom tells the Man of Steel. Superman glares at him. "You and I are gonna have a long talk when this is all over, Nathaniel," Superman snaps. Captain Atom throws him a mock salute. "Sir, yes, sir," he grunts. Suddenly, the world shifts around them, and Nathaniel finds himself floating through the void. A portal opens up, and he flies through it, finding himself floating in the skies above Metropolis. Superman floating before him. The voice of the Heart of Apocalypse speaks, echoing through the skies.
Captain Atom, Superman, to advance to the next level, you must engage in a contest of hand-to-hand combat. Best 2 out of 3 wins. When one combatant loses, that combatant must choose a form to ensure victory. The only way forward is to fight, the Heart commands. Atom looks down at the city below them. "This the real Metropolis, Soups? The Heart gave you the home court advantage?" Atom asks. Superman focuses with his super hearing for a moment and nods. "Sounds like it. I can hear the people, but it's missing something," Superman tells him. Captain Atom nods. "It's messing with us, trying to make us worried about really throwing down with each other if there are civilians present," he says. But Superman drifts over to him and puts a hand on Atom's shoulder. "It chose the 2 of us for a reason, Nathaniel. We need to be careful," Superman starts to say. But Captain Atom shakes his head, his fist beginning to glow with atomic energy. "You're not getting it, Superman. I'm playing to win," Atom says as he lashes out, punching Superman hard enough to send him through several buildings. An explosion rips through the arena, and the buildings begin to crumble as Superman finally comes to a stop. The Man of Steel struggles out of the debris. "Captain Atom, what are you doing? The Heart manufactures realities. These buildings, they could be full of real people," Superman shouts. But Captain Atom flies forward, the air rippling behind him from his speed. "That's debatable," he snarls as he throws another charged punch. But this time, Superman catches it, and the impact ripples around them. "It's really not," Superman growls. He pulls Atom forward and grabs his arm, twirling him through the air before throwing him straight down through the building. Captain Atom finally comes to a stop at the bottom. "Now you're getting it. You and I fought before, Superman, but this time we really need to go for it. You heard Time Trapper. No mercy!" Captain Atom shouts. He raises his hands and fires an energy blast at Superman before launching himself back up and punching him hard. Superman shrugs off the blow and backhands Atom away. "No! I'll find another way," Superman shouts as he races after his opponent. They both float through the air as Captain Atom rolls his neck and cracks his knuckles. "Can you survive this kind of 1-2 punch, Superman?" he asks as he alters the atoms in his fists. One begins to glow green and the other a dark red. "Red sun energy and kryptonite?" Captain Atom asks as he rushes forward and begins to hit Superman with a combo. Stunned, Superman falls away from the attack. "I know you, Nathan. You would never kill in cold blood," Superman gasps.
But Adam reaches out and grabs hold of him. He shakes his head. "You don't know me, or what I've been through," Captain Adam snaps as he begins to drain the energy from Superman's body. He watches as the Man of Steel begins to shrivel before his eyes. "What are you doing?" Superman gasps. Captain Adam speeds up the process, and Superman becomes frail before him. "You could say I'm draining your power until your atoms are turned into nothingness. Or you could say I'm helping you. You didn't want to do this tournament in the first place, so I'm helping you leave it for good." Captain Adam snaps. Superman begins to break apart in his arms, and suddenly turns to dust. "K.O., the heart declares. Captain Adam looks down at his hands. He can feel the Omega energy coursing through him, and it feels intoxicating. But there is a burst of light, and Superman appears before him once more, fully healed. "Round 1 combatant regeneration complete," the heart declares. "Round 2 begins. Choose your form. Choose the arena," the heart bellows. Both Superman and Captain Adam look at the many forms that stand before them, versions of themselves from both the past and the future. "I know what form you're going to choose, and I'll only have seconds to pull this off," Superman whispers to himself. And so, the fighters have chosen. They appear in the skies once more. Nathan has chosen the Monarch, from a reality where he was a god who could control time and space, while Superman has chosen the gold visage of Superman Prime from the 853rd century. Monarch looks down and sees his family farm below them. "My hometown? If you're trying to hit me in the fields, then you thought wrong. All you're doing is reminding me what I'm fighting for." Monarch snaps at Superman, but the Man of Steel shakes his head. "We're on the same page, Cap. We want to save the people we love, the world we love," Superman tells him. But instead of fighting, he launches himself into the sky. Captain Adam leaps after him, and they both speed into space. "Running is not going to help, Superman," Captain Adam shouts. But Superman shakes his head grimly. "I'm not running," he whispers. Superman leads Captain Adam up and into space, drawing closer and closer to the sun. "The sun? You planning to absorb more solar radiation? I'll just drain that too," Captain Adam calls after him. "No, I'm doing a trick the Flash told me about once, but I needed this form to gather enough strength," Superman says as he stops and lets out his most powerful blast of super breath. The icy breath washes over the sun and completely coats it, putting the sun out. Cold immediately settles over the now dying universe. Captain Adam suddenly can't move as life drains from his body. "What did you?" he gasps. Superman looks at him grimly. "I used every bit of power that I had. Atoms and quantum fields can be slowed down when exposed to extreme cold, including us. But I have just enough power left after a lifetime in the sun to outlast you." Superman gasps as his own body slows. "K.O., the heart declares. Once more, the two heroes are regenerated and float across from each other, choosing their forms for the third and final round. "I'm sorry for what happens next, Captain Adam," Superman tells him. But Adam shakes his head angrily and looks at the versions of himself. "I know what I did wrong last time. Instead of choosing one form, I will choose all of them," he says, using his power to absorb all of the past and future versions of himself. But Superman merely chooses to be himself. "I refuse to lose myself in this place," Superman tells Captain Adam. But Adam is all-powerful now. He has tasted the power of the Heart of Apocalypse, and it has corrupted him. He reaches out with his new power, taking hold of reality itself, reaching for the heart of Apocalypse, wanting more of that power. Adam, the heart sees the cheat. Time Trapper warned us. The heart would defend itself. Superman warns him. He flies forward and strikes Adam, and the two begin to fight. Each blow takes them back through reality, back through Captain Adam's past. What is happening? Captain Adam shouts. You challenged the heart, so it's using your powers against you, pushing you backward through your own timeline, Superman says as he hits Captain Adam again and again. Adam blocks another blow and hits Superman back. It doesn't matter. I will win no matter what, he says. Suddenly, they are floating in a white void. The shattered past of Nathan floating all around them. Captain Adam looks around, explaining that he saw the world he could create if he won the tournament, if he became the King Omega. But you, I bet it showed you the world exactly as it was. You put everything back the same way. You wouldn't change a thing, Captain Adam snaps. Superman shakes his head. It showed me what I wanted in my heart, but it is not my right to tell anyone what the world should be like, Superman tells him, trying to reach out and help his friend. Captain Adam pushes him away. He refuses to lose. He reaches out and gathers his shattered timeline, balling the energy together before hurling it at Superman. This has to be done, and I'm gonna be the one to do it. Eat an origin bomb! Captain Adam bellows. The blast rips into Superman and swirls around him. Finally, Adam stands in the void. I won! The world will be mine! He bellows into the nothingness. Not quite, Superman says as he reappears. But now he is a mix of himself and Captain Adam. You made a mistake, Captain, but you're too corrupted by the heart to see it. Your little stunt somehow combined our powers, Superman says as he leaps down and punches Adam hard. He grabs hold of him, using his new powers to begin to drain the energy from Captain Adam's body. I will use your powers against you. Drain your energy the same way you drained mine, Superman says. Captain Adam begins to glow white hot as his powers fluctuate and he can no longer control himself. I'm sorry, Captain Adam, Superman whispers. Finally, Captain Adam disappears in a flash of energy, and Superman stands alone. Victory! The heart declares. Superman stares at his hands, saddened by what he had to do to his friend. Captain Adam was right. I can feel the power from the heart growing, reaching for me. It corrupted Captain Adam, but if it could do that to someone like him, Superman whispers. Prepare for the next round, the heart orders. Meanwhile, back on the Justice League Watchtower, Booster Gold squeezes Time Trapper's throat, his eyes glowing with the power of the Omega. I've allowed this charade to go on long enough. The pits are burning with Omega energy. That belongs to me, Booster growls. The Time Trapper stares at him in horror. No, I know what you are. How did we miss this? He gasps. Booster lifts him into the air and throws him through the Watchtower window into the vastness of space. Your hope blinded you, Time Trapper, to your true reality, Booster snarls. Booster stares at the window and watches as Time Trapper drifts away. I always hated you, Doomsday. It bothered me that anyone thought a monster like you could challenge a god like me. But you were right in what you told the Justice League. There were no paths to a future that was not mine. They really should have listened. You cannot fight Darkseid and win, Booster says. The shadows shift behind him, and the World Forger steps forward with his hammer, prepared to strike. A celestial being flips through the channels of his intergalactic interdimensional television. A world of clouds floating around him. Finally, he finds a good show. A fight between Wonder Woman and Lobo. Not wanting any spoilers, he quickly pauses and rewinds to the beginning. Round 1. The alien crowds around them cheer as Lobo raises his hands to them. His heart has created a boxing ring on some alien world, and a title card girl steps across as round 1 is set to begin. The announcer steps forward, a microphone in hand.
Ladies and gentlemen, rev your engines and lock up your liquor cabinets. From the farthest reaches of space, he is the intergalactic bounty hunter, the last Cesarnian, the biker of the cosmos, the main man, Lobo!
The announcer shouts, bringing more roars from the crowd. Next, the announcer points to Diana.
Hailing from the hidden island of Themyscira, she is the chosen champion of Olympus, the Amazon enforcer, Wonder Woman!
Time to test your mettle, Cesarnian, Diana says with a smile as she drops into a combat stance. But Lobo seems at ease.
Pucker up, Buttercup, cause I'm gonna put your insides on your outsides.
Lobo sneers, but Diana just shakes her head. I have a feeling I will enjoy this, she tells him. The bell rings and the fight begins. Lobo rushes forward and throws a powerful jab, but Diana ducks underneath it and hits him hard in the gut, followed by a right to the jaw and another left. Too slow, she tells him. The Lobo recovers quickly and grabs Diana by the hair, holding her steady long enough to punch her in the face.
You wanna fight like a man? Well, Daddy's got something for ya.
He sneers as she flies across the ring, blood leaking from her lips. The crowd cheers as Lobo turns to them and raises his arms.
Yeah, that's right. That's your main man.
He bellows. Diana spits out blood and gets to her feet, angrily unlooping her lasso before whirling it over her head and tossing it around Lobo's neck. She pulls it tight and brings him to the ground. Diana runs forward and knees Lobo in the chin. My lasso is supposed to make you tell the truth, but I cannot lie. You're the worst, she snaps as she punches down into him. Lobo blocks the attack and grabs hold of her arm, pulling her into a headlock and repeatedly punching her in the face.
I'm the fraggin' worst, fraggin' bastitch.
He snarls at her. Diana stumbles back from the attack, and Lobo finally finishes the round with a blow to the face that smashes her skull.
K.O.
The announcer bellows. Diana falls, dead, but her body merely disappears as the next round begins. Round 2. The world shifts around them. Suddenly, they are standing on the island of Themyscira, and Diana stands ready in her golden armor. She turns as she hears the roar of an approaching engine. Hey, princess, your royal geekness, I'm one win away from walking away with this whole thing. So, I'm gonna grind you up before the league even has a chance to put your face on a milk carton. Lobo bellows as he roars in on his smoke-bellowing space hog. But Diana whirls and tosses her shield at his vehicle, knocking Lobo off it and sending him into a nearby ruin. Black smoke billowing around her and obscuring the battlefield. Ah, what the frag? Lobo groans as he staggers to his feet. The smoke swirls around him, revealing a more youthful visage. Just in case you feel like going 3 rounds in the sack instead of the ring, thought I'd give you something pretty to look at. You're welcome, ladies, he calls. The smoke clears around Diana as well, showing her warrior sisters at her back. Ew, who in the new 52 is that? Cassie asks as she cracks her knuckles. Lobo sneers at them and raises his weapon and fires, but Diana leaps into the path of the bullets. This armor has withstood gods and titans, Lobo. It will not yield to a drunkard in eye makeup. Diana snarls as the rounds bounce off her. She swoops down with her magic sword, slicing through Lobo's arm at the elbow and silencing the gun. "Hold up a fragging minute! What happened to my arm?" Lobo shouts as Cassie and Donna surround him. Yara Floor leaps in and picks up the severed arm. She swings it over her head and begins to beat Lobo with it. "Found it, you greasy ass!" she snaps. Diana swoops in on her gold wings and punches Lobo hard in the face, knocking him into several nearby columns. "You may be in a temple, but no one will hear your prayers here," she tells him. But Lobo gets back to his feet, his arm regrowing in a matter of seconds. "Will you look at that? Good as new," he says with a smile. But Cassie and Donna press their attack, hitting him again and again. "Hey, take it easy, gals. There's enough of me to go around." Lobo snaps at them as he blocks blows and throws punches. He grabs Cassie by the leg and begins to swing her around, slamming her into the other Wonder Girls. "Call this a fight? I've had harder Saturday nights in a Dooley 7 cat house," he shouts at them before tossing her away. Lobo looks at the scattered Amazons. "Your main man, he came, he saw, he fragged the shiz out of a bunch of stuck-up frigid Wonder Girls. Don't worry, you'll all get autographs after the concussions wear off," he sneers at them. But Wonder Woman swoops back in and slices off his leg. Lobo begins to stumble and the Amazons regroup, hitting him again and again. Lobo finally falls, blood pooling around him from his numerous wounds. He tries to crawl away. "You dweebs are really giving me mixed signals here. Whatever happened to good old Themysciran hospitality?" He coughs around a mouthful of blood. Slowly, his body begins to heal, but Lobo looks up at the sound of his approaching space hog. He stares in shock as Diana steers the vehicle straight at him. "The valet parking wasn't enough for you?" she asks before driving the hog straight into him.
K.O.
The heart announces. Round 3 begins. But the heart declares that both combatants must win a series of challenges. And so, Lobo and Diana begin to face off in Galactic Slap Match, Shin-Kicking Championship, Chess Boxing Showdown, Karjitsu Invitational. The final contest takes place in a gladiatorial arena, where the winner takes all. Lobo smiles at Diana as she glares at him. "Don't give me that glare, honey. You know part of you's enjoying this. I can smell it. One of these days, we'll really have to get it on. But for now, I got business to attend to," he says as he turns and steps towards the weapon racks. "And you're just fragging fodder standing in the way of me winning this whole competition. The main man is about to be King Omega." He sneers at her before drawing his massive guns and opening fire on Diana. But Diana moves fast, deflecting the bullets with her bracers. "Now you're really cheesing me off. Just die already!" Lobo snarls as he fires a grenade launcher. The explosion tosses Diana away, and she disappears into the shadows that surround the arena. Lobo begins to look around. "Where'd you go?" he asks. But Diana leaps out of the shadows with Lobo's chain hook. She whirls it around and tosses it into him, the hook sinking into his back as she circles him. She draws her sword and prepares to strike, but Lobo manages to pull the hook from his back and swing it into her side. He pulls Diana in tight, grabbing her hand as she prepares to stab him with her sword. "What you gonna do, little lady?" he sneers. "Slaughter me? Disembowel me? Didn't anyone tell you? I'm the big cheese, the main man, the mean hombre who made a deal with the damn almighty, so I can't die," he shouts at her. But Diana realizes that someone is watching them from the shadows. 2 men sit in velvet chairs. The entity shrugs.
"It would seem the entity, aka the Almighty, heard Lobo use his nickname in vain. This can't be good for the scourge of the cosmos,"
the heart announces. "I'll allow it," the Almighty tells her. His assistant holds up Lobo's contract and tears it in half. Diana nods and presses harder, driving her sword up and into the chest of Lobo. The main man lets out a yell of pain and collapses to the floor.
K.O.
The heart announces, Diana is the victor. Meanwhile, in the Watchtower, the World Forger continues to fight against Darkseid Booster Gold, but the World Forger finally falls to Booster's Omega Beams. Jason takes a deep breath. He racks the slide on his pistol before holstering it. He reaches down for his double-barreled shotgun and makes sure that it's loaded. He picks up 2 machetes and sheaths them on his back. Finally, he reaches for his mask and slips it on his face. He has been waiting for this. The arena blurs around him, and he finds himself in the smoking ruins of Gotham City. The clown stands across from him, a rictus grin plastered on his face. The heart speaks.
Red Hood, Joker, this is a fight to the death. Best 2 out of 3 wins. I chose the arena. After this round, you choose your forms. Now, fight! The heart booms across the city. Jason draws fast, lifting his pistol and firing it again and again. Die, clown! He bellows. The Joker raises his own submachine gun and begins to fire a burst. You first! Again! He wheezes with glee. The combatants draw their knives and rush forward. Jason moves fast, swiping for Joker's head, but the clown isn't there. He ducks under the attack and stabs Jason in the leg with a switchblade. Ugh! Jason groans as he twists away. It always fascinated him the way the Joker was able to hold his own against Batman and the others. This twisted skeleton of a man. But the Joker is fast, unpredictable, and fights with an abandon that shows he doesn't care whether he lives or dies. I'm fighting for my life here, and he doesn't care whether he lives or dies, Jason thinks. He whirls again and stabs the Joker in the back of the neck, but somehow he manages to keep running, disappearing into the shadows of Gotham's alleys. Jason draws his secret weapon and gets a bead on the clown, but he is too fast, and Jason doesn't want to waste his shot. The heart allowed each combatant to bring 1 item with them, and Jason chose carefully. He knew this fight would happen. The other heroes believed that the villains were safely locked away in the Phantom Zone, but Jason trusted his gut. He knew the clown would be here. The Joker is never locked away. He is always lurking. Jason rushes after him, watching as his purple coat disappears into a side door. He follows carefully, not wanting the Joker to get the drop on him. What's the matter? Afraid to face me? Jason calls as he moves through the interior shadows of the building. The metal catwalk sounds beneath his feet, and Jason can smell the chemicals in the air. He knows where they are. Ace Chemicals, where the Joker was born. Jason readies himself, drawing the pistol that he brought, loaded with a single special round. He steps out onto the catwalk. Something shifts in the shadows behind him and he whirls. Got you! He growls as he fires the single round. The special bullet rips into the Joker's chest, and the clown giggles with pain. Joker crumples to the floor, struggling to stand.
I've been shot plenty of times, kid, but this one feels kind of funny.
The clown wheezes. He suddenly rears back and lets out a groan of pain, his body twisting and pulsing, bones snapping. His skin begins to split as more smiles begin to open across his chest. Jason just glares at him. Batman spent years on a cure. Luckily, he never found one, because you don't deserve a cure. There's nothing human about you. Whatever you are never should have crawled out of the vat down there. So these bullets are my idea of a cure. The compound in that bullet was produced from the same chemicals that made you, but amplified 1,000 times over. Jason growls as the Joker's eyes begin to bulge. Death by the very stuff that should have killed you in the first place. Joker struggles to his feet and smiles with the dozens of mouths on his body.
Nicely played! But I also brought toys.
He groans as he reaches into his coat and pulls out a grenade. The explosion tosses Jason off the catwalk and sends him tumbling into the vat of chemicals. No! Jason screams as he begins to disappear beneath the green liquid, his skin already burning.
Not like you!
He groans as the acid does its work.
Nobody's like me. That's the real joke. No one else could have survived this chemical bath. I'm 1 in a million, baby.
Joker cackles. Jason breaks the surface, his mouth pulled into a horrifying grin, his body twisting. He laughs as his head twists and his neck snaps itself.
And you, Jason? You're just not that special.
Joker wheezes.
K.O.
The heart calls.
Round 2. Choose your forms.
The second round begins in the warehouse. Jason couldn't help himself in his choice for a second form. He stands now as the sidekick he once was when the Joker ended his life. The Joker in the same form he was that day as well.
So predictable, little bird. I figured, why not take a stroll down memory lane together?
He says with a big grin. Joker is now armed with his crowbar. The two combatants rush each other. Jason can hear the bomb beeping nearby, but he is young again, strong, angry. He leaps over the Joker's attacks and kicks out at him, twisting his legs around and tossing him into a nearby pile of boxes. He will not let history repeat itself. But the Joker tosses boxes to distract him and rushes with the crowbar. The hard metal connects with Jason's head, bringing him down. The Joker falls on him with glee, the crowbar coming down again and again. But Jason refuses to die this way again. He reaches out for the weapon and grabs it, twisting it away and cracking Joker in the jaw, knocking him aside. Jason stands with a grunt, stalking forward. He begins to hit the Joker again and again, blood spitting into the air with each blow. Back when they first fought, Jason held back. He was worried that if he fought back, he would kill the Joker, and he would have rather died than disappoint Batman. But Jason doesn't give a damn what Batman thinks now, as he continues to pummel the Joker into the ground. Beg, Joker, beg. Jason growls as he steps away. The clown only smiles.
Please, kid, die!
Joker gasps as he rolls over and draws a gun. The shot echoes through the warehouse, but Jason is young and fast. He dodges the round and lets it hit the bomb behind them. The explosion rips apart the warehouse as Jason uses the Joker's body to take cover. Slowly, the smoke clears and Jason pulls himself from the debris, holding the lifeless body of the Joker in his arms. He looks up at the sky and laughs.
K.O.
The heart calls.
Round 3.
Jason looks back through his past, searching for a form for the final round. Finally, he realizes that none of it feels right and chooses something from his future. An older Jason, not as fast or as strong, but calmer, wiser. He walks through the cemetery as rain falls from the sky. Something shifts in the shadows, and the Joker steps out with an axe, now clad as the original Red Hood, and cleaves the air, but Jason dodges the attack.
Nice try, kiddo! But whatever form you take, you'll never be more than a footnote.
Joker hisses. Jason raises his gauntlets and hits the Joker with a burst of flames, forcing the suit-wearing villain back. Jason charges forward and slams into the clown, bringing him down. But the Joker isn't done. He draws a knife and drives it into Jason's back, stabbing him over and over. The two tumble through the air, landing hard in an open grave. The Joker fights like an animal cornered, using every trick he has, every sharp object in his pockets, stabbing Jason over and over. But Jason doesn't care. He pushes past the pain. His blows land hard, breaking bones. He rips the Red Hood from Joker's head and begins to pummel him with it. He sees the Joker's face, his real face. And he doesn't care. Jason doesn't stop until Joker's body is lifeless, his blood soaking the dirt at the bottom of the grave. Finally, he tosses the helmet aside and pulls himself from the grave. The rain continues to fall, and Jason turns his face up into it, allowing the Joker's blood to be washed away. It is finished. He collapses to the ground. He can feel himself dying. He knows the Joker has some trick up his sleeve still, some way to live on. But it doesn't matter. Tonight and forever, both he and the Joker know who really won. Darkness overtakes him. Nearby, the Joker lays in the grave, lifeless. But the joy buzzer inside of him shocks his heart back to life, and it begins to beat. Slowly, his mouth twists into a grin. K.O. The heart thunders. Meanwhile, the fights have ended. All the combatants have moved on to the next round, and now Earth has become New Apocalypse. Batman has had enough. Trapped within Jason's silent Gotham City, he is now transformed into the monster that Jason believed him to be, Clayface. I knew you were Clayface! Jason roars as Batman reaches out for him, wrapping him up in clay. I'm not! Batman bellows. The two grapple for a moment before Jason manages to kick free, but they were too close to the edge, and he plummets from the rooftop towards the city below. Batman can feel the heart of Apocalypse watching with anticipation, but he defies it, reaching out with his clay arm and snatching Jason out of the air. Hold on, Jason! Batman growls as he pulls Jason back up to the rooftop. He concentrates and begins to return to his normal form. You saved me. You really think you're Batman? Jason whispers. Batman nods. You did something I couldn't do, Jason. As much as I consider myself a loner, that was always a lie. I was never really alone. I had you and your brothers and sisters. I surrounded myself with people. I'm sorry you had to do this, Batman says as he becomes himself once more. Normal again, he stands before Jason. Don't pretend you're him! Jason shouts.
You don't have to believe me that I'm Basil or Bruce, but I'm staying here with you. I refuse to leave you by yourself. We'll figure out how to leave this world together, Batman tells him. There's a brief moment where the anger falls from Jason's eyes and is replaced by relief. But the pair don't get to enjoy the moment for long.
No, no, no! You cheated!
The heart bellows in anger as the world is washed away, and Batman is pulled once more into the darkness.
You do not make the rules, Batman. I make the rules.
The heart bellows as Batman floats through the void, but the Dark Knight shakes his head in anger. I'm done with your game, Heart. I'm not doing what you want anymore. I refuse to fight my children, he shouts into the nothingness.
Oh, really?
The Heart asks.
How about I reveal what has been going on in the tournament since your elimination? Witness the fate of your allies.
Images flash before Bruce's eyes, events moving at super speed. His friends are fighting for powerful weapons against some of the worst villains of his world. The Joker laughing maniacally in his battle against Jason Todd.
They are losing. They need you. But not only that, the Joker is winning.
The Heart tells him.
I will make you a deal, Batman. A new offer. If you beat my challenge, I will return you to the tournament.
The Heart offers. Batman looks around the darkness. Why should I trust you? He demands.
You can't.
The Heart hisses, promising to test Batman's mind and his heart next. Light begins to fill the void, and Batman lets out a scream of pain before disappearing. Another Earth. Tim Drake has become Batman and now stands in the library of a manor where a murder took place. He turns back to those he's gathered. I have brought you all here today because I have uncovered the killer. The police suspect Mrs. White because of her father's true identity, and most of you suspect Mr. Green because of his efforts to conceal his other crimes. Tim points out. Alleged crimes, Mr. Green whispers. Tim turns away from them and stares into the fire. Only an amateur detective would believe such things. No, I know exactly who killed Dalton Glory. And they are, in fact, in this room, Tim tells the group. But he doesn't get the chance to out the murderer, as the man reveals himself, grabbing one of the other suspects and placing a knife against the man's throat. You are always too smart for your own good, Batman, the man snaps. The Tim whirls and fires a bat drone at the man, distracting him long enough to move in and knock him out with his bow staff. Been some time since I needed to resort to fisticuffs, Tim notes as the rest of the people in the room clap and cheer for the world's greatest detective. The police commissioner shakes Batman's hand and congratulates him for solving every mystery in Gotham City. All except one. There is one case I've never solved, Tim says before turning and stalking away. Later, he returns to the Batcave. Stepping from the Batmobile, he finds a binary message scrolling across the screen of his computer. Tim sits and quickly deciphers it. Tim, this is Bruce. I need your help. Odd. I do love a good puzzle, and it's been a long time since someone hacked the Batcomputer, Tim says softly. He reaches out and begins to tap a few buttons, intent on catching whoever is breaking into the computer. Behind him, one of the bat droids slowly begins to turn his head. What are you after? My old case files? Why? Tim whispers to himself as he continues to work. Behind him, the robots begin to move closer and closer. One slowly begins to reach out a clawed hand for the Dark Knight. But Tim is fully aware of their approach. He suddenly whirls and leaps from his chair, flipping over the robot's head. Nice try,
But I have better toys. He growls as he tosses his bat drones out. But the robots quickly throw their hands up in surrender. Tim, wait, listen to me, they all say. But Tim moves fast and destroys them all with his bow staff. Tim, it's Bruce, but not your Bruce. Bruce says as he suddenly appears as a blue hologram projected by the Bat computer. Tim stares at him in shock. I just needed more time in your system to gain access to your holograms, Bruce explains as he motions to the robots. I've been trapped in your system for a few days. It took me a moment to gain control, but in that time, I saw your files. I saw you, Bruce tells his son. I want you to know I'm proud of you. You dedicated yourself to not solving crime in Gotham, but solving Gotham itself. You're smarter than I've ever been. You're a better Batman than I am, Bruce tells him. Anger flashes across Tim's face as he takes a step forward. Then why can't I solve your murder? He demands. Bruce looks at him sadly. Because you didn't want to, he says, explaining that if Tim solved his murder, it would mean that Bruce was really gone for good. Tim taps a button and his cowl disappears, revealing an older man. I wish I could solve one last case with you, Tim whispers. Bruce nods in understanding. We will. Since I gained access to your system, I've scanned the crime scene photos and all your evidence. Look again. My body was in the Batcave. You know me, Tim. Look at what is on my belt. What is missing? Bruce says as he holds up an image of his own dead body. Tim stares at it for a moment before his eyes widen in understanding. Oh my God, I know who killed you, Tim whispers. Bruce nods and promises that they will catch the killer. But suddenly, the hologram begins to glitch and Bruce lets out a scream of pain. Bruce, what is happening? Let me help you, please! Tim shouts as he reaches for his mentor, but it is too late, and Bruce is gone. Once more, he floats through the void.
You were supposed to fight him, not help him,
the Heart bellows. Batman shrugs. You're just mad that I beat your test my way, he scoffs.
And because of that, I will break you. I can show you all the different versions of Batman you will face. I can make the people you love want to kill you,
the Heart tells him. Bruce watches as more worlds flash before his eyes. Worlds where his other allies have become Batman.
But instead, I will hurt you in a different way,
the Heart promises.
I warned you.
Bruce suddenly sits up in bed. He is much older, his hair gray. Slowly, he pulls himself from the bed and walks towards the window. Bruce knows that he isn't in the manor, nor is he in his old brownstone. He can hear the sounds of the city beyond the panes of glass. He pulls aside the curtains to reveal Gotham, alive and well. No longer the seedy hive of crime and corruption that he is used to. How is this possible? I've never seen the city like this, Bruce whispers. I saved Gotham, Father, Damian says as he enters the room. Now older, a man in his 20s. But I was only able to do it because of what you taught me. At first, I followed in your footsteps, and then I started my own path. And now, Gotham doesn't need a Batman anymore, Damian tells him. Bruce takes a step towards his son. Damian, we need to talk. I'm not, Bruce starts to say, but Damian holds up a hand to stop him. Hold on, I know. I'm too smart to not know. This world isn't real. It's like I can see this reality's cracks in my peripheral vision. This is all part of some kind of cosmic contest. You are real. This was made to manipulate you, Damian says easily. Bruce nods softly. Can you help me escape? He asks. Damian smiles and nods. I will, if you want. But first, I need you to understand what is at stake for me. Damien tells him as he motions for someone to step into the room. Bruce's eyes widen in wonder at the young boy that steps around his son. Father, this is your grandson. His name is Alfred. Damien tells him with a smile. Round 2 is ended, and in that moment, Superman was given a vision. It was the same vision the Heart of Apocalypse showed him at the beginning of the tournament. A perfect world. Children scream with laughter. People walk through pristine cities that are one with nature. Above, cities float amongst the clouds. But the heart shows him more. It's not just the earth that is perfect. It is the universe itself. The universe as it could be, under Superman's watchful eye. Shaped by him. Superman wants to look away from the vision, but he can't. Its beauty is too much. And then, Superman wakes up. He sits up with a gasp and finds himself in the black void once more. Good dreams, Superman? Lex Luthor asks as he steps from the shadows, a smile on his face. Because I had a great one. Suddenly, a great boom echoes through the void. Superman and Lex turn as the rest of the combatants appear as their own rounds end. There are only 6 others to join them. Cyborg, Wonder Woman, Guy Gardner, Zatanna, Aquaman, and the Joker. 8 fighters left. Superman walks towards Diana, but the Heart's voice suddenly fills the void.
Welcome, champions, to the 3rd round of the tournament. In pursuit of victory, Darkseid occasionally allied himself with unexpected beings. So, for this battle, you will fight in teams. Each of you must choose a partner.
The Heart explains. Suddenly, there is light in the void. Before them stand the statues of fallen fighters in the championship.
There is one of you, though, who has generated more Omega energy than the rest, and so will get to choose a partner from all realms of reality.
The Heart continues.
And that champion is Joker!
Joker smiles with glee as he glances at the heroes around him.
Ha! I love this game! He giggles.
For the rest of you, the choice stands before you. You can choose a former foe or an ally. Choose quickly, or the choice will be made for you.
The heroes choose their allies, and in moments, the void is gone, replaced by individual arenas that float high above a world of nothing, where teams of 2 stare across from one another. Guy Gardner and Hal Jordan versus Superman and Shazam. Lex Luthor and Supergirl versus Aquaman and Hawkman. Wonder Woman and Big Barda versus Cyborg and Connor Hawk. Zatanna and John Constantine versus Joker and his wild card.
All fights are to the death. Let the battles begin!
The Heart bellows. Guy smiles at Superman and Shazam. I know what you're thinking. Yes, there were better choices. More powerful, smarter, handsomer. But me? I always choose my friends. Guy says as Hal materializes next to him. I'm touched, Hal says to his friend. Superman holds up a hand and motions his friends forward. Well, are we doing this? He asks. Hal and Guy launch themselves forward, green construct hands reaching out for the Man of Steel. No hard feelings when we kick your asses? Guy asks. Superman raises an eyebrow. Course not, but that's not gonna happen. Right, Billy? Superman asks. Shazam suddenly appears in a burst of lightning, his magic lashing out at the two Green Lanterns. "Oh, hell no!" he shouts. "Language!" Superman snaps as the two fly forward. Nearby, Arthur stands with Carter Hall, across from Lex and Supergirl. But Lex is confident in their superior strength. "All right, Kryptonian, let's finish them," he orders. Kara steps forward, suddenly lashing out and punching Lex in his armored chest, sending him tumbling across the arena, her eyes glowing red with anger. "You seriously thought I'd fight alongside you?" she growls. Arthur and Carter step forward as Kara waves them over. "I want a new team up. How about it, Arthur? Carter? All of us against this asshole?" Kara snaps. Carter raises his mace. "Now you're talking." In the next arena over, Cyborg and Connor Hawk clasp hands. "Thanks for the shot, pal," Connor says as he pulls Vic into a hug. Cybernetic tendrils snake out and infuse Connor with nano enhancements, making him stronger and faster. "You're one of the deadliest fighters in the world, Connor. And now that I've just infused you with nano enhancements, they won't know what hit them," Cyborg says as the two friends turn and rush the warrior women that stand across from them. And finally, in the fourth arena, Zatanna and John stand across from the Joker. "Well, Joker, who did you choose?" Zatanna demands. The Joker shrugs comically. "Oh, you know me. I just love to laugh. So, I figured, why not pick someone who loves to laugh too?" he says, as there is a crackle of energy, and suddenly, the Batman who laughs stands next to the Joker. Zatanna and John stare at the dark multiverse villain in horror. "Yeah, I'm not liking this date after all," John whispers. Zatanna immediately wraps the Joker in chains, as John holds up his own hand and begins to cast his spells. But something seems off. "Hang on, this doesn't smell like Dark Multiverse. I know a con when I see one," John says as he wraps the Batman who laughs in his own magical chains. "Ha! The jig is up, old friend," the Joker laughs. "Go ahead and show them who you really are." Suddenly, the Batman who laughs snaps his fingers. All right, if you insist," he says as John and Zatanna's magic disappears, and the Joker appears before them, clad in robes and wearing a crown. "You know what's better than a king? An emperor!" he laughs as he holds up his scepter, crowned with the head of Mr. Mxyzptlk.
Now that's what I call 5D chess!
Mixie shouts with a smile. Joker waves the scepter around. "Now that's funny! Come on, not one laugh? Fine, I'll laugh for you!" Joker says as he points the Mixie scepter at them. A giant ha appears in the air and slams into the ground, knocking the magic users away. Nearby, Barda grabs hold of Diana's lasso as the Amazon swings her through the air, launching the warrior at their opponents. Barda slams into the ground, cracking the earth and knocking both Victor and Connor away. "Did Wonder Woman just throw a nougat at us?" Connor groans as Victor helps him up. "I appreciate you picking me to be your partner, Cyborg, but why not pick someone stronger or with magic?" Connor asks. And Vic shows him, using his nanites to map Connor's mind so that he can learn his ashram fighting style. A style of unpredictability and chaos. "Once I've scanned your skills and absorbed them, I can fight just like you," Victor says as the two run at their opponents. "And with your enhancements, I'm as strong and fast as you. Twin Titans!" Connor cries. "Exactly! Now let's win this thing!" Cyborg shouts as the two jump in, quickly trading blows with Barda and Diana. Meanwhile, Zatanna and John are launching spells across their arena, but the Joker is using Mxyzptlk to knock them all aside. He waves the scepter and transforms the arena into a rolling mass of oozing clowns that reach up for the magicians. John, these constructs are some sort of visual neurotoxin. Keep your eyes averted, Zatanna warns. But it's too late, and she watches in horror as John's face is pulled into a grin and he starts to laugh. Sorry, love, I just thought of something really funny, he giggles. Nearby, Diana and Barda are hard-pressed by Cyborg and Connor, slowly losing ground to the pair of enhanced martial artists. Barda, punch me as hard as you can, Diana yells. Barda is confused, but trusts her friend, leaping across the arena and launching a punch at Diana, one that is met by the Amazon's bracers. The force of the blow sends shockwaves across the arena, cracking the earth and sending Victor and Connor flying, defeating them. Meanwhile, Zatanna has fallen to Mixie's reality warping powers, securing the victory for the Joker. Joker laughs in triumph as he holds up the scepter. I did what you asked, clown! Now send me home! Mixie orders. Joker sighs and agrees, and says the imp's name backwards, sending him back to the 5th dimension. Meanwhile, Superman and Shazam continue to trade blows with the Green Lanterns. Hal realizes that they can't match the heroes for strength and pulls out his secret weapon. Superman stares in shock as Hal pulls out a Black Mercy, the powerful parasitic plant that shows you your heart's desire while devouring you. Caught by surprise, Superman isn't fast enough to stop the plant from latching onto him, and in the blink of an eye, he is once again in his apartment on game night. Nearby, Lex is crumbled to the ground as Kara continues to hit him. Arthur and Carter standing nearby. Why in your wildest dreams did you think I'd side with you? Kara demands. Luthor smiles as he stands. Because of this, he growls, as the chest piece in his armor opens up to reveal a strange glowing light. Kara stumbles back, and Carter and Arthur quickly rush to her side. Red Kryptonite, run! It makes us rage! Kara growls to her friends, but it is already too late. In Clark's mind, he is doing the dishes with his wife. She smiles at him as she puts the dishes away, explaining that she understands that Clark has no interest in winning the game, that he enjoys watching others succeed. But Bruce is going to push him to win anyway. Bruce is like that. He'll push you to win as an act of love, even if it makes you hate him. It makes for an awkward game night, she says as she pulls down another bottle of wine. But hey, at least we have good wine. Now, get out there and be Superman, she tells him. The images shift, and Clark sees his perfect world. He sees his parents arriving on Earth, an Earth that is transformed. But something echoes in his mind. Lois telling him to get out there and be Superman. And suddenly, he is consumed with rage. Superman roars in anger as he rips the Black Mercy from his chest and throws it to the ground. He watches as the lanterns knock Shazam to his knees, but Superman rushes forward, slamming into them and smashing their construct. Nearby, Lex watches as Supergirl, transformed into a rage monster from his spliced kryptonite of red, silver, and black, grabbing Arthur and Carter and slamming them into the ground, ending their fight. Meanwhile, Superman reaches down for Billy, helping him up. Billy, I'm sorry I brought you into this, but I chose you because of what you can do with your powers for others, Superman says. Behind him, Hal and Guy have gotten to their feet, prepared to continue the fight. But Billy knows what Superman means and smiles. reaching out for Superman. Shazam! He calls. The magical lightning cracks through the air and slams into Superman. Hal and Guy's eyes widen in surprise as a magically charged Superman now floats before them, lightning crackling from his hands. Solomon's wisdom, Hercules' strength, Atlas's stamina, Zeus's power, Achilles' courage, and Mercury's speed have all been added to Clark's own power. Fear flashes across Hal and Guy. The Man of Steel launches forward at even greater speed than ever. Guy tries to throw up a shield construct, but Superman breaks through it with one blow. The fight is over in moments. Superman turns to look at the other arenas and sees Lex staring back at him, a look of admiration in his eyes. Suddenly, the voice of the Heart fills the air.
Round 3 is over. Congratulations. Only 4 champions remain. Time for round 4.
The Heart calls. A great boom fills the air, and suddenly the 4 champions step through a portal onto a rooftop. They look out over a destroyed city, great fires raging all around them.
The penultimate round will take place here, on a world that belongs to the King Omega, Darkseid.
The Heart tells them. Joker crosses his arms with a big grin on his face.
Nice! So the next round takes place on Apocalypse, eh? My kind of place.
He giggles. But Luthor shakes his head. No, you idiot. This isn't Apocalypse. It's Earth, Luthor tells them.
Yes, this is your Earth, but you are no longer its champions. They are.
The Heart explains. The champions turn as shadows fall over them. The 4 combatants look up as this world's champions appear. A Diana raised on the wild Isle of Hell. A Superman fighting against the destruction of his second world. A Batman armed with a battle axe, fighting against the horrors born from his city. And Booster Gold, possessed and controlled by Darkseid, all of their eyes glowing red with the power of Apocalypse.
Now, let the true fight begin.
The Heart bellows. The Earth is being consumed by fire. The Heart of Apocalypse ravages the land beyond comprehension. Energy crackles from above, and the World Forger and Grodd plummet to the earth. Weakened from their battle against Darkseid on the Watchtower, the World Forger falls to his knees.
The battle with Darkseid has left you hurt, World Forger. Maybe this is a sign.
Grodd notes, but the World Forger shakes his head. Of what, Grodd? That we should quit? Throw in with that madman? No. It would be better if the universe ends than letting him have his way, the World Forger says through gritted teeth. Both turn to see the final 4 combatants facing off against the champions of Darkseid's universe, the possessed Booster Gold standing with them. No, World Forger cries, knowing that the heroes of Earth aren't strong enough to face the champions. He slams his hammer against the ground, energy pulsing through the earth, and Darkseid's champions become still. Joker stares at the frozen heroes and readies his knives.
Hilarious! Quick, let's slice their throats before they start moving again.
But World Forger shakes his head, explaining that the stasis will be broken if anyone touches the absolute champions. And let me guess, we would lose? Luthor asks. World Forger nods and explains that the absolute champions were forged in the energy of an Omega universe. You do not have the power to fight them. Yet, he whispers. He holds out his hammer, reforming fallen combatants from the dust of the earth. Black lightning, Plastic Man, Batwoman, and Star Sapphire suddenly appear before the other heroes. Plastic Man looks around the destroyed Earth. "Am I in hell? This feels like hell," he notes. World Forger slams his hammer down once more, opening glowing fissures in the Earth. "I will reach out to the worlds beyond and bring new champions into these reality fissures. You all must enter the fissures, fight the champions, and I will collect the Omega energy produced. Then, I will transfer the energy into the final four to finish this fight," the World Forger tells them, urging the heroes to hurry. The 8 heroes of Earth each rush into a different fissure, new worlds appearing before their eyes. Black Lightning and Plastic Man suddenly tumble down into a strange arena. A ninja clad in blue stands before them. Shang Tsung stands atop a nearby dais. "Who dares interrupt this most sacred Mortal Kombat? For that, you must fight!" the sorcerer orders. Sub-Zero steps forward, cool energy beginning to form in his hand. Wonder Woman finds herself within a coliseum, a crowd cheering around her. An announcer steps forward.
"Welcome, fans and friends, to a battle of the most dangerous women on the planet. At the far end of the Colosseum stands the Princess of Themyscira, a Wonder Woman!"
The announcer bellows. Diana watches as the gate at the far end of the arena opens, and a red-haired, well-armed woman steps out.
"And on the other side, the Crimson She-Devil, Red Sonja!"
the announcer declares as Red Sonja prepares to fight. The Joker finds himself standing before a house in a quiet suburban neighborhood. He smiles broadly and steps inside. "Quaint! Could use a bit more vandalism, though," he whispers. Suddenly, there is the sound of movement behind one of the doors. Joker opens the door to find the doll Annabelle staring at him. "Oh, what do we have here? A little doll? Won't this be fun?" he says with a laugh. Batwoman finds herself standing within a gothic castle, the owner sitting upon a throne. "I must say, you definitely know how to make an entrance," Vampirella says with a smile as she swishes her glass of blood. Suddenly, she disappears in a cloud of smoke and reappears behind Batwoman, her fangs glistening. "Though, I wonder how much better your exit will be," she hisses. Star Sapphire finds herself in the town of Greendale, where she meets a blonde girl who is amazed that she can fly. "I've never seen someone fly without a broom before," Sabrina notes. Star Sapphire quickly fills her in on what's happening. "Oh, is that all? I bet I can whip up a nice spell that'll take care of some big baddie," Sabrina says as she casts a powerful spell. But the spell goes haywire, and the entire area is engulfed in magic. "Oops," Sabrina whispers. Luthor steps from his portal and finds himself in a large forest. "Curious," he notes as he walks amongst the trees, but rounds a tree to find an anthropomorphic bear standing with a bloody knife, a murdered rabbit hanging from the tree next to her. "Oh dear, I really wish you hadn't seen this," Samantha Strong says softly. Luthor's eyes widen in terror as the bear charges at him, the bloody knife raised to strike. The knife scratches off his armor, and Luthor tumbles to the ground. "I'm not sure what you are, strange furless ape, but try to stay still. It will hurt less," Samantha says as she stabs down again. Luthor lets out a yell of fear and knocks her away with his armor. Superman appears in the sky over a city similar to Metropolis. His eyes scan the nearby buildings, and he sees a sign for Vought American. A scream sounds from the streets, and Superman swoops down to save the day. "Is there a problem here?" he asks as he lands. Homelander turns to look at him, cocking an eyebrow as he raises someone's severed arm. A problem. Not when Homelander is on the scene. Now who the f*** are you supposed to be? He asks. Meanwhile, Sub-Zero tries to freeze Black Lightning and Plastic Man, but Plastic Man manages to shield Black Lightning. Can we finish this guy and save the world or what? Plastic Man shouts as they charge forward. Black Lightning hits the ninja with a burst of lightning, and Plastic Man knocks him out with a hand hammer. And that's how you do it, Plastic Man says with a smile as they bump fists. But suddenly,
Round 2, fight!
echoes through the arena. The heroes look up as Sub-Zero is joined by a second ninja.
Scorpion, test your might!
The announcer shouts as a kunai is tossed across the arena. The blade pierces Black Lightning's shoulder and he cries out in pain. "Get over here!" Scorpion yells. The kunai keeps flying towards Plastic Man, but he twists out of the way, reaching out to grab Scorpion before throwing him into Sub-Zero. "No! How about you get over here?" he shouts. Meanwhile, Red Sonja and Diana trade blows back and forth. "We are evenly matched, Red Sonja, but I will fight until my dying breath. Yield!" Diana shouts as she slashes downwards, but Sonja meets the blow with her shield. She twists beneath the attack and smashes Diana in the face. "Red Sonja yields to no one," she snarls. Diana falls away and Red Sonja charges at her. "Prepare to die!" Sonja shouts. But Diana throws up her bracelets to meet the attack. The force of the blow's impact sending them both flying across the arena. Back on the streets of New York, Superman takes a step forward. "I'm sorry, he starts to say. But Homelander holds up a finger to his lips and shakes his head. Shh. Let me guess. You're here to kill me? Another in a long line of people trying to take my mantle as America's favorite superhero?" he asks. His eyes begin to glow. "Well, my friend, many have tried, but most had better outfits," Homelander says before firing a blast of heat vision. Superman meets it with his own, but quickly realizes that the two are evenly matched. He suddenly slips under the attack and dives beneath the earth, coming up quickly and hitting Homelander with a powerful uppercut. Homelander is launched into the air, but he quickly recovers. "My turn," he says with a smile as he wipes away the blood from Superman's attack. He swoops back down and slams into Superman. Outside the fissures, World Forger can feel the Omega energy gathering into his hammer, but his body is weakened from the fight with Darkseid. Suddenly, he staggers and falls away. Grodd moves quickly and catches his friend. He looks at the hammer with dismay. "No, without his control, the fissures are collapsing on each other. If they merge, the energy will coalesce and Darkseid will win," Grodd whispers. Meanwhile, Joker is sitting at a tea party with Annabelle. "Oh, Annabelle, you are a wicked one, aren't you? Why, your stories are almost as hilarious as my own," Joker says as he sips his imaginary tea. Annabelle says nothing. Joker's smile drops away, and he slams the teacup into the table, smashing it. "Which really just makes me mad," he snarls as he reaches forward with the jagged cup and prepares to stab her. But the wall suddenly implodes as Superman and Homelander come flying through it. Joker stares at them in shock before turning back to see Annabelle's chair is empty. "Now where is that wretched doll?" He turns in surprise to find her standing behind him. Homelander smiles down at Superman. "And here I thought you were going to be a challenge, Superman," he says with a grin. Superman suddenly lashes out and headbutts Homelander, knocking the homicidal hero away. I was about to say the same thing. Behind them, Joker grabs Annabelle by the leg and begins to slam her against the ground.
I saw you move! I know it! I saw you move! He shouts.
But the worlds continue to collide, and the heroes find themselves in the Colosseum, fighting the various champions of the multiverse. Back on Earth, the World Forger slowly recovers, reaching for his hammer. I have failed. The realities are collapsing, folding in on each other until the universe dies. Without someone to wield the hammer and direct the Omega energy, we are lost, he gasps. But Grodd shakes his head, his eyes glowing as he connects their minds.
No, I can help you. We can reach out together. Direct the Omega energy by connecting my mind with our champions. Grab the hammer and do what we came here to do.
Grodd orders. World Forger reaches out and takes his hammer. He can feel the Omega energy flowing through it, and he finishes his task, leeching the Omega energy from those he called forth before sending them back to their own realities.
Not yet. Not until this Boy Scout is dead and buried,
Homelander shouts as he reaches for Superman's throat. But the battle ends, and the champions are returned to Earth once more. The others, those that fought and lost in the tournament, are returned to the dust, transformed into stone sentinels to oversee the final battle. The World Forger pours the Omega energy into the final four: Superman, Wonder Woman, Lex Luthor, and the Joker. The final champions look to World Forger. It's time. Let's finish this. Once and for all, Superman tells him as they turn to the absolute champions. World Forger nods and slams his hammer down once more. The stasis that holds the absolute champions falls away, and the two groups rush at each other. The final battle has begun. It is a new world, a safe and beautiful world. Bruce marvels at it as Damian explains what happened, the hardships, the wars, what happened to the Joker. How Damian trained to be a doctor and used his mind and resources to help Gotham, to heal it, to create a city that didn't need a Batman. Bruce knows that this is the heart testing him, to make him face his fears before returning to the tournament. But Bruce doesn't want to leave. Here, he gets a life he never thought possible. He sits with his grandson, Alfred, and watches TV. They play in the park, he reads to him at night, and he picks him up from school. "Grandpa!" Alfie shouts as he rushes into Bruce's arms outside the school. Bruce pulls him into a hug. "How was kindergarten today, Alfie?" he asks. He takes the young boy's hand and they start to walk home. "Great! It was show and tell. I wanted to bring a batarang from the museum, but the teachers wouldn't let me," he says. Bruce nods solemnly. "They're probably right," he agrees. Alfie looks up at him. "Grandpa, do you miss being Batman?" he asks softly. Bruce's words catch in his throat. He doesn't want to lie to his grandson, but he knows the truth. He can hear the heart's voice every time he closes his eyes. The heart's voice echoes in the darkness.
Remember, this future is not a gift, Batman. This is not the end of your story. You tried to cheat to win and must be punished for it. You don't get to just live here and be happy forever. You must fight. You must fight this world. You must prove to me that you are worthy to return to the tournament. That you might be a champion worthy of becoming King Omega. If you do not, I will punish you,"
the heart warns. Bruce knows the heart wants him to fight, and so does his son. Damian calls him down to the Batcave, and Bruce is surprised to see the entire Bat family waiting for him. He stares at all those he loves. But Damien calls back his attention. I've searched the world and talked to all our brightest minds, trying to find a way to beat this heart of apocalypse. A lot of people think we're foolish, that this reality is real. But I managed to convince the Justice Legion to let me borrow some forbidden technology. I know we can find a way to protect our world, while also helping you, Damien tells him. Bruce nods in agreement and greets the family. He is surprised as Jason steps forward, holding the hand of Rose Wilson, their daughter, sitting on his shoulders. I miss you, Bruce, Jason tells him with a smile. Bruce looks at all those gathered. Why are you all here? He asks. Dick puts a hand on his shoulder. You gotta go back, Bruce. Damien told us the deal, he says. Barbara nods behind him. Go back. Take out whoever stands in your way and win the whole damn tournament, she says. Then handle Darkseid, Duke continues. If you do that and get the powers, you can make our world real, Stephanie finishes. Jason nods gently as his daughter clings to his neck. That's what's at stake for us, Bruce. The families we've built. The future we made together, Rose adds. Damien smiles at his father. So, the heart wants you to take me down in a fight, right, Father? You spent years training us. You think an old dog can learn some new tricks? He asks. Bruce smiles. And so the training begins. But combat isn't all that he focuses on. He also spends time with his family, getting to know them in this world and seeing what they have built and what he is fighting to possibly make a reality. He works on acrobatics with Dick before walking his dog. He boxes with Barbara before sitting and talking over coffee. He trains bow staff with Tim. Then they play a game of chess. He works on accuracy with Jason before getting to know his new family. He works on robotics with Luke and relaxes with some video games. Rooftop runs and ice cream with Stephanie. Surprise attacks and laughter with Cassie. Sword training with Jean-Paul. Stealth training with Kate. And strength training with Duke. He learns of all their stories, of both tragedy and triumph. Bruce becomes a real person with a real family. But finally, it is time. Bruce sits on the rooftop of Damien's home, no longer forced to hide in the shadows as he works on his final device. He suddenly glances to the side. You're getting better, he admits, as Alfie steps from the shadows with a smile. I had you, the child calls. Bruce smiles and motions him forward. You did. Very close, Bruce admits. Alfie looks at the strange box his grandpa is building. What's that? He asks. It's a gift for your dad. I call it a bat box, Bruce tells him. But Bruce knows it's time. Alfie came to get him. He looks at his grandson for a moment, tears threatening to fall down his cheek. Why are you sad, Grandpa? Alfie asks. Because I don't want to leave. This world has shown me that maybe I don't need to be Batman anymore, Bruce says. But Alfie shakes his head. But they need you to be Batman, Grandpa. My dad and my aunts and uncles. They are who they are because of you. Don't you want to see them grow up too? Alfie asks. Bruce nods as he picks his grandson up and heads towards the stairs. I guess I do, he admits. Alfie smiles. Go get him, Grandpa. The Bat family has gathered on a nearby rooftop, all dressed as heroes. Bruce stands across from Damien, both dressed as Batman. Damien is armed with his katana, while Bruce has his batleth. You ready to fight, old knight? Damien asks as he readies himself. I've beaten you in a fight before, son, Batman points out. Beating up a little kid is really something to brag about? Damien asks him. But Bruce shrugs. Yeah, but that little kid was a badass, and I don't think you have that edge anymore, Bruce says with a smile. Only one way to find out, Damian says as the two rush at each other, blades clashing. Bruce spins away and slashes, but Damian knocks the blow aside. Neither is giving their all. Damian, you're holding back, Bruce snaps. So are you, Damian shouts at him. Then fight me, son, Bruce bellows as he launches into another attack. They fight like they've never fought before. Both men giving their all. They know the heart will accept nothing less. They fight for hours. The battle raging across the rooftops of Gotham. Blow for blow, the two men are equally matched. Their blades slice through arms and bite into flesh. Until finally, Damian charges forward and slashes with his katana, drawing blood from his father. Bruce lets out a cry of pain and falls to the ground. But Damian whirls on him. Get up! Get up, father! You have to! You must keep fighting! Damian shouts. But Bruce shakes his head, blood flowing from his wounds. He spits out a mouthful onto the pavement. I can't do it. I can't win, he gasps.
Test complete. Game over.
The heart bellows from the shadows of Gotham. Bruce watches as darkness begins to unfold all around him. The world he's come to love begins to disappear. Grandpa! Alfie shouts. Bruce reaches for him, reaches for his son. You know what to do, Damian! Bruce yells before they disappear. Finally, he finds himself once more in the void. Damn you! You wanted me to lose? Bruce growls at the heart.
That was your final test, Batman. To see if you could ever admit defeat. If you hadn't, I would have destroyed that world anyway. You are never going to escape your punishment.
The heart tells him. Bruce looks up as a light appears in the distance.
But now, you are nearly ready.
The heart tells him as Bruce walks towards the light. He finds himself on a ledge, looking down on the fiery pits of Apocalypse. The fire rising up to meet him.
All that is left is a leap of faith. Faith in Darkseid. The ability to defeat Darkseid and rewrite all of existence can be yours. To make your family's world real. Are you ready to fight your allies? To show them no mercy? To cross lines you promised you never would? To re-enter the tournament and become the King Omega?
The heart asks. Bruce readies himself. He begins to run towards the edge. Bruce knows the truth now. His family needs him. The heart thought it was testing him. Thought it defeated him by making him forced to fight against his family. But that's the thing it didn't realize. It wasn't testing him. It was training him to win. Across the many worlds the heart created, a ping can be heard. The activation of the Bat Box. In his world, Dick Grayson, Batman, rushes towards the sound. In his world, Jason Todd, Batman, searches for it. In his world, Tim Drake, Batman, tries to piece together the clues. And in his world, Damian, Batman, stands alongside Alfie, his new Robin, as they prepare themselves. Bruce leaps off the edge and plummets into the fires of Apocalypse below. The champions stand on the fire pit wasteland that Earth has become during the tournament of the King Omega. They stare at the champions from Darkseid's absolute universe, led by a Darkseid-possessed Booster Gold. Joker smiles.
Round 4. Fight!
The heart bellows. Cal raises his fist and fires a blast of fire from his gauntlets at Superman. Die! He roars. The blast hits Superman in the chest and forces him back. He recovers as Cal leaps at him, the red dust cape of Krypton swirling around him before he punches Superman hard in the jaw. But Diana is there, wrapping her arms around young Cal's throat and pulling him off her friend. But suddenly, the skeletal frame of Pegasus swoops down and slams into her, knocking Diana away. The massive unit that is Absolute Batman charges at Luthor with a roar of rage, but Lex is saving the last of his suit's energy for the end. So instead, he fires an elephant tranquilizer at the young hero. Absolute Batman doesn't even slow down. He raises his battle axe and prepares to strike. "Shoot him, Joker!" Lex yells as the axe slams into his armor and knocks him aside. Batman turns and glares at the clown. "Well," he growls. But Joker holds up his hands in defeat. "Actually, I like to switch sides," Joker says with a shake of his hand. Darkseid Booster floats down and hovers over the scene. "What? You will forfeit your chance to win the tournament," Booster tells him. Joker shrugs. "I mean, I got to kill Batman with a bang, so I'm good. Besides, Darkseid should have 4 horsemen, not just 3, Joker points out. Booster ponders this for a moment, before finally nodding. He calls out to the heart, and Omega energy pulses around Joker, transforming him into a new type of parademon. The clown demon smiles down at his new armor. "Ha ha! I love it!" he chuckles. Nearby, Superman struggles to his feet, Lex and Diana by his side. "Grodd told me we were betrayed, but I would never have guessed it was you," Lex growls at him. Booster merely smiles, his eyes flashing red as Darkseid peers from behind them. "Don't blame poor Booster. He isn't at fault," Booster tells them. But his voice begins to change. The dark rumble of Darkseid escaping from his lips.
My will is undeniable,
he growls. His gaze falls to Superman.
Nice to see you again, Kryptonian. Now, my horsemen, kill them all, he orders. The Dark Wonder Woman launches through the air astride Pegasus, but Diana throws her lasso around the steed's neck and brings it down. Diana stalks forward as the Dark Amazon struggles to her feet. "Talk to me. When my lasso touched you, I sensed nothing but Darkseid's essence. There must be more," Diana pleads. But the Dark Warrior turns a blackened gaze upon Diana. "You know, I have a lasso too. It's called Sacrifice, and it doesn't just make people talk," the Absolute Wonder Woman tells her. She pulls out the glowing weapon and begins to wrap it around her arm. Suddenly, Diana watches as her dark sister transforms into a fearsome Hydra. Nearby, young Cal and Superman charge at each other. They slam together and 52 megatons of energy is blasted across the battlefield. Though Superman is able to reabsorb the energy. "Is that the best you can do?" Cal snarls at him, his eyes glowing with fury. The Joker is still fighting with Lex and rips the kryptonite out of his armor. "Mind if I borrow this?" Joker cackles before tossing the gem to Batman. "Hey, Bats! A gift from me to you!" Joker calls. Batman catches the gem and snaps it in half, replacing his bat-ear daggers and charging at Superman, slamming hard into his back and driving the sharp crystals into his flesh. Superman lets out a cry of pain and stumbles to his knees. They are losing. He glances over his shoulder as the Absolute Batman slowly stalks towards him, battle axe in hand. But Joker steps up as Batman raises the weapon. "Wait!
Let me do it. I've always wanted to kill a Superman, Joker asks.
Joker takes the weapon and raises it for a strike, but he gasps in pain as a jagged piece of metal is shoved through his chest. Joker stumbles and falls, coughing up blood and laughing, but the laughter dies on his lips. Bang! The real Batman says. He reaches down and helps a surprised Superman to his feet. "Hello, old friend," Batman says with a smile. Superman just stares at him. "How?" he finally asks. "Before we entered the competition, I wired a mother box to my heart. So if I died, I'd be transported away. The heart made me fight my way through heaven and hell as punishment for cheating," Batman says with a shrug. Superman nods as if this all makes perfect sense. "You mean punishment for being Batman," he says. Batman glances to their left and sees the young Kal floating there angrily. "Who's the kid?" Batman asks. Superman rolls his shoulders and prepares himself. "He's Darkseid. They're all Darkseid," he explains. Batman nods and turns away. "Then go get him," he calls over his shoulder. He turns to the massive Absolute Batman. "I'll take this one." Absolute Batman glares at him and picks up his axe. "Let's do it, rich boy," he growls. Batman merely drops into a combat stance. "You know, I've fought a lot of Batmen lately, but that is the ugliest bat symbol I've ever seen," Batman tells him. Absolute Batman lets out a roar as he begins to grow, spikes ripping through his armor. "How's it looking now?" the transformed Bat says as he stalks forward. Batman smiles. "It's growing on me." Absolute Batman charges forward and swings his axe, but Batman leaps out of the way, twisting through the air. He lands gently and points to the twin sticky bombs now attached to Absolute Batman's chest. "Hold on, you've got something on your," Batman says, as the bombs explode and Absolute Batman stumbles back in a cloud of smoke. But his cape tendrils snap out and stab through Batman's shoulders, picking him up and tossing him through the air. Nearby, Diana fights her dark sister, flying through the air and slamming into the Hydra again and again. "Enough tricks! Face me!" Diana demands as she flies through one of the Hydra's heads. "There has to be more to you than this, sister," Diana yells. The Hydra begins to shrink, becoming an absolute Wonder Woman once more, now with one less arm. The Dark Amazon shakes her head. "There is only him, sister, and he is nearly here," the Dark Wonder Woman tells her. Nearby, the Supermen continue to trade blows, but Superman realizes that these younger, darker versions of themselves are too powerful, and the champions are tired from the tournament. He turns at the sight of Booster Gold, his red eyes flashing as he screams for his champions to fight.
"Fight, you insects!"
Darkseid bellows. Superman stops his battle and flies forward, slamming into Booster with all his strength, putting every ounce of energy into the blow. Booster is knocked across the earth, slamming through several buildings before he finally falls to the ground. And in that moment, the heroes of the Absolute Universe are freed. The Absolute Batman's eyes widen in shock as Darkseid's influence recedes. Are we free?" he gasps. Kal nods. "I think so, Batman," he whispers. Absolute Wonder Woman nods and looks up at Diana. "It was a nightmare, like being a passenger in your own form," she whispers. Superman nods as all the heroes gather. "He has no hold over you anymore," he tells them. He looks at them all and asks that they join them in the battle against Darkseid. But Lex shakes his head and scoffs at the idea. "You think it's that easy? You didn't free anyone, you fool!" he snaps at Superman. He points to Booster Gold's body. "He let them go," He doesn't need them anymore because he's here. The champions watch as Booster's body begins to shift. His mouth opens wide as hands reach out from it, grasping the jaw and pulling it apart. Bones crack and skin tears as Darkseid pulls his way free of the body he possessed. The champions watch as Darkseid returns. Greetings, champions! Darkseid calls as he stands to his full height, massive in this world. The heroes stand ready. Superman knows what they must do. As one, they charge forward into the final battle, but they have already seen the future. Omega beams launch from Darkseid's eyes, so many that the world turns red. One by one, the heroes fall, blasted from existence. Only Superman remains, fighting through the blast, burning, but alive. Finally, Darkseid relents, and Superman stands before him, his costume tattered, his skin burned and bloody. "Is that all you got? Is that it?" he bellows. Darkseid smiles down at him. "Impressive, Kryptonian. Now go on. I'm waiting." Darkseid rumbles. Superman glances over his shoulder and sees Lex standing behind him, shielded by Superman's body. "Come on, Luthor. Let's do this together." "You heard him. He's waiting," Superman says. But Lex shakes his head and smiles. "He is waiting, Superman. For a winner," Lex hisses. He pours the last of his energy into a final blast, the blow hitting Superman and cutting off his final words. The blast rips him apart, and the Kryptonian falls. The tournament has ended. The King Omega has been crowned. Lex turns to Darkseid as the crown appears over his head. But that is not the end of our tale. Before the tournament began, in the far future, in a time of legion and darkness, the Dark Legion floats over a flame-quenched world. Saturn Girl is one of the most trusted followers of the final god, Darkseid. She is called before his presence. "You called for me, King Omega?" she asks as she bows. The great energy that is Darkseid stares down at her.
You are correct. Do not be afraid. You serve me well, Saturn Girl. I can sense my enemy's efforts to stop me from completing my work. And so it is time you understand what is to come.
Darkseid tells her. He orders her to journey into the past of the world he has created. A world that is made of absolute Omega energy. To have the Legion capture the champions of this world, that they may stand against the champions of Earth when they try to stop him. Time passes, and Saturn Girl stands before the final god once more, the captured horseman at her back. Darkseid stares down at her.
You have done well, Saturn Girl. I can feel the heroes plot to challenge me. They believe they can build Omega energy as I did. Control the heart of Apocalypse. Crown themselves King Omega.
Darkseid tells her.
You are my most loyal servant. You must be rewarded. Look into my mind. Gaze into its depths.
Darkseid tells her. Saturn Girl hesitates, but Darkseid orders her to proceed. She reaches out with her mind, reaching into the depths of Darkseid's mind. Her eyes begin to glow as blood begins to spill down her cheeks. She can see what Darkseid sees, see the various worlds and timelines, and she realizes that Darkseid would always win. And in the end, there would be nothing. All of life, past, present, and future, are meaningless. There is only Darkseid, but for a brief moment, she sees a glimpse of something else. A light that shined, a creation of a different kind. Lex Luthor laughs as the energy surges through him. He has become all-powerful. Ha! Face me, Darkseid! Face this universe's champion, Lex Luthor! He bellows. Darkseid looks down on him.
I am right here, little one. Congratulations. Savor this moment, and then fight for your crown.
Darkseid rumbles. Before game night is interrupted, Clark, Bruce, and Diana stand and prepare to go out and fight Darkseid. Lois is behind them, calling all of the heroes, preparing for the final battle. But Superman suddenly stops at the window. "What's wrong, Clark? What are you?" Lois starts to say, but time seems to freeze. Superman turns back. "I know what this is. Show yourself, Doomsday," Superman orders. Reality shifts, and Time Trapper steps from the shadows. "Kal-El," he says softly in acknowledgement. Superman nods in greeting and turns back to the window, staring out at a reality on the brink of destruction. "Time Trapper, this isn't a memory, is it?" he asks. Time Trapper slowly shakes his head as he joins Superman at the window. "I had concerns whether I could trust anyone else in the Quantum Quorum or your allies. I suspected that someone might be working with Darkseid, though Booster Gold's possession still surprised me. I created this pocket timeline to protect you if need be," he explains. Time Trapper turns his glowing eyes on the last son of Krypton. "As Doomsday and Superman, you and I have been locked in a cycle of death and rebirth for years now, Kal-El. I have always believed my role to be your destroyer, and yet an unlikely source revealed the truth to me," Time Trapper tells him, explaining that after Booster's betrayal, Doomsday traveled to the Fortress of Solitude, where the memories of Kal-El's mother told Doomsday that he was meant to save Superman, so that he might stand against Darkseid. "It is now time to break that cycle," Time Trapper says as he places a hand on Superman's shoulder. Suddenly, reality shifts around them again, and they stand at the center of all things. "I have seen many endings, Kal-El. I have watched countless planets, universes, and realities die. I have channeled Omega energy," Time Trapper tells him as he motions to the worlds cracking and dying. "But I have also seen beginnings, universes being born, wild, creative chaos," he continues. Clark watches as worlds are born before him. Time Trapper explains that he contains both Omega and Alpha energy. "I have realized that the way to stop this cycle we are on is that instead of granting you another ending, I must give you a new beginning. If I grant you all the power of creation inside me, you may be reborn this one time instead of me," Time Trapper tells him, explaining that he was always meant to be the King Omega, that the universe already bends itself towards him. Time Trapper steps forward. "If I do this, you must promise me something." "Win!" Time Trapper demands. Superman doesn't hesitate as he nods. "I promise," he says firmly. Time Trapper reaches a hand out and places it on Superman's chest. Energy begins to surge between them, and Superman lets out a scream. Slowly, Time Trapper's life force begins to dim. "Goodbye, Kal-El," Doomsday whispers. On Earth, Lex Luthor laughs again as the power surges through him. He reaches for the heart of Apocalypse, preparing to take full control of this reality. But the heart can sense something, a tearing of reality. "So, shall we negotiate the terms of your surrender, Darkseid?" Lex demands. Darkseid merely smiles.
I think I'll take my chances,
he rumbles. Lex smiles wider, but suddenly something is wrong. His eyes widen, and he begins to burn away and disappear. Darkseid doesn't seem surprised as he turns to his new opponent. Energy crackles as Superman appears.
We have a new King Omega,
the Heart declares.
As I had hoped, Kryptonian. Now, don your crown.
Darkseid sneers. Superman reaches out into the past and takes hold of the energy of the universe. In one moment, he is every moment in history, from the beginning of time to the present. He is in every particle of energy that collects after the Big Bang. He is there at the first life that begins with a single-celled organism. He watches as the world unfolds. Finally, he stands ready to face Darkseid, a golden Omega crown appearing over his head. Energy crackles around him as he rushes forward, his blows slamming hard into Darkseid. They battle across all realities at once. They are everywhere. Superman's fists slam into Darkseid again and again. Superman stops, breathing heavy, but the Lord of Apocalypse merely smiles. He brings a knee up swiftly into Superman's stomach, knocking him away. Darkseid stalks forward, but the heart is inside of Superman, shouting for him to move. And at the last moment, he does. Superman relies on instinct, and suddenly he finds himself in the past. What? Where am I? Superman questions.
The only safe place, the past. Everything after this belongs to Darkseid. Catch your breath and remember what you're fighting for. Can you see it?
The Heart asks. Superman nods.
Good. Now, build!
The Heart declares. Superman watches time move. He builds his universe's present. He leaves death, sadness, but makes them notes in larger chords of wonder. He builds out harmonies, balances pain with empathy, connects power to wisdom, stringing notes. He was born for this, and Omega energy surges through him. But finally, they arrive in the present, under Darkseid's control.
Clark, behind you!
The Heart shouts. Darkseid is there, and the two trade blows once more. But each attack sends Superman back, forcing him to retreat. Each blow sends them through time. Superman is forced back and forth. Finally, they arrive at the beginning of all things. The Big Bang. The only thing unclaimed by Darkseid.
We're cornered,
the Heart whispers. But Superman shakes his head. I'm right where I want to be, he says. Superman reaches out and takes the power of the Big Bang in his hands, supercharging himself, making himself as strong as Darkseid. Darkseid appears and sneers at Superman. There you are, he rumbles. But Superman lashes out with a massive boom, and his blow knocks a surprised Darkseid away.
What? did.
The god snarls in surprise. In Kansas, it's called playing possum, Superman says with a smile. The two lock in battle once more, their punches making whole galaxies shudder. They fight for 1,000,000 years. Superman hits Darkseid so hard that black holes begin to vomit starlight across the void. The fire pits of Apocalypse burn brighter with each blow. But finally, Superman stomps. He has the power to defeat Darkseid, to make his universe reality, to make everything better. But he stops. He knows that's not him. Slowly, he reaches into his own chest, grabbing hold of the heart of Apocalypse.
No! Don't! What will this gain? The blast might knock him back a few months, but you'll be back where you started. You can't quit!
The heart shouts, but Superman shakes his head. I'm not quitting, Superman says as he crushes the heart in his hands. Reality tears and the other heroes appear. I'm just tagging them in, he declares as the power of all the heroes fly into Darkseid and end their battle. Defeated, Darkseid floats away into the void and disappears. Superman smiles down at his friends. Thank you, Cal. You did good, Diana calls to him. But Batman understands what's happening. You're leaving us, aren't you? He asks. Superman nods. I am. I have something I must do, but I'll be back. Now go on. Get to work, he says before disappearing. Superman looks down on his universe one last time, but it disappears and is replaced with the one from before. The timeline crystallizes, and the universe is reborn as it once was. Superman smiles. He likes it when everyone wins. Sometime later, Bruce and Diana go to Lois's for game night. You didn't have to come, Lois tells them. But Diana shakes her head. Of course we did, Lois. Game night is game night, she explains as she reaches for the dice. It's just a friendly visit to make sure you're okay, Bruce explains. But Lois just shrugs. Listen to me, both of you. I know my husband. He told you he had one last thing to do. After that, he'll return to us. I just wish I knew why he did it this way, she says. He did it to win. He won for all of us, Bruce tells her softly. The Watchtower. Mr. Terrific stares down at his readings. The sight of the tournament imbued all those within the vicinity with both alpha and omega energy. But he doesn't know what this means, and he needs to find out. Elsewhere, Booster Gold promises to find Superman, no matter what. Over Metropolis, Superboy Prime flies through the skies and looks down on his city. It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Superman, bitches! He says with a smile. In the far future, Darkseid's former legionnaires hide from their master, now that they've broken free of his control. And in another reality, Damian Wayne looks at his son. Grandpa left the box so we could communicate him if he beat Darkseid. But it's not working, Dad, young Alfie says. Damian nods. It's receiving signals from other places he visited. Other futures. Other Batmen, Damian explains. But Darkseid is not defeated. He looks upon some form of apocalypse and sneers before turning to a cloaked figure.
The Time Trapper's sacrifice may have given Superman the ability to push me back, but you and I know the truth. The fools who oppose me have won neither the battle nor the war. My absolute creations are unfazed. They and the rest of their world remain my weapon.
Darkseid rumbles. He turns his gaze upon other realities in the multiverse, where each world's champions fight for the crown to become King Omega.
With each fight, the fire pits burn brighter, and the Omega energy fuels me. Each will succumb to my will, my control, anti-life. Once the infinite Earths fall, there will be a crisis of absolute proportions.
Darkseid proclaims. And that was the full story supercut for DC K.O. Yes, there were some fights and tie-ins that we didn't cover on the channel, so obviously they were not in this video. But what did you think about everything that did make it in? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you're curious about the order of the video, I did it according to the official reading order, so that's why the DC Knightfight was spread out like it was. But anyway, let me know what you thought. And like and subscribe to help out the channel. I'm Dan with Comicstorian, and we will see you next time. Rest in peace, Benny.